Well, while we're technically live, we haven't had much time for anybody to show up, but, there's been a little bit of scuff pre-stream, right? A whole lot of chaos going on. Ay, forgetting everything. But hopefully it's going to be a good time, right?
Yeah, it happens to all of us. Listen, scuff is the spice of life.
Scuff is life, indeed. Ay. I almost forgot the audio though, which that would have been very unfortunate, especially if nobody in chat caught on too.
That would have been a pretty awkward interview with no audio.
All right, VIL, thank you for all those wonderful insights, and nobody heard it. Oh. Right.
We've done it.
Yep.
What a good interview.
We did it. We saved the town. Meanwhile, the town.
Listen. Only maybe half the stuff I say is of noteworthy.
Yeah. Well, I want to, try to capture all of it, even if you think only half of it's noteworthy for now, so. Listen, some of the stuff I say makes no sense as well, and I ramble on all the time.
Sure, that's fair.
But, with that, stalling for time, hopefully anybody who's showing up gets the pre-roll ads out of the way by now. Welcome everybody to episode 27 of Big Squeak Inc. Interviews. Today's guest is VIL, Vtubers I Love. You want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yes, hi. As was introduced, I am VIL, VTubers I Love. That is the name of my YouTube channel, which I do VTuber clipping. And most of my clips center around either wholesome or lewd moments. And so I clip a lot of lewd tubers, and I enjoy clipping different kind of kinky moments as well. I have a very kink positive community, and so yeah, I've in the past maybe 4 months or so, I've started Twitch streaming. So I'm branching out into that as well, and it's been a lot of fun. So thank you for having me on.
Of course, and thank you for accepting, because honestly, a lot of the times when I reach out to people, it's like I am extremely nervous. Oh, they look so successful in what they're doing. Are they going to, accept a no name like me asking them for something like this, right?
Oh my gosh, you are definitely not no name. You are just as worthy of my time as anyone else. So thank you for being interested in talking with me. And honestly, I especially really wanted to come on because I know that you and your community are if it wasn't obvious by your set, you are heavily steeped into size difference in the size community, and that's something I care about. So I wanted to make sure that I thought it'd be fun to come on.
Yeah, it's definitely something I'm absolutely passionate about. Also, hello Raiders, no alerts, so I won't be singing you a song, but hello Dooney, hello everybody, and welcome to the VIL interview. Y'all get comfortable, because we have just started, and I'm sure Dooney was keeping an eye on the start of stream to be like, when can we get into that interview? So, thank you, Dooney.
Yes, and I see some good friends of mine such as Danny and Ness. Good to see you. Good to see you both, and everyone else who's come by. I saw, thank you for the raid, Dooney.
Yep. And, continuing along our introductions, across the table, instead of my usual co-host, we have one of our giant kaiju friends who has been shrunk down to fit inside the building for now. Hello, Sanus.
Hello, everyone. I'm sure most of you who've come in know me by now with how much I've been around Saru over here. I'm Sanus Sangria, kaiju VTuber, and I just stream whatever I feel like.
Heck yeah.
That makes sense. Yep. You do what you do when you do it.
Sanus, I appreciate you shrinking down just to be part of this interview. So thank you for being here.
Of course, I have to support both of you. You
Yeah.
guys have always been so supportive of me and others, so
although,
do what I can.
One of these times I gotta try to figure out an interview. We got the tiny guest on the table, but me and co-host towering over the buildings out in the city one of these times. Just maximum size difference, right?
That would be cool. It's actually really funny because I was thinking about this even before we got into the
Yeah.
interview. Technically, this is already kind of like a fun, like multi-size situation because I'm for those who don't know, I'm Vil, I'm the crab, and my friend here that I'm sitting on top of is Liv, and so I'm always smaller than Liv, and she's like people size. And then now we have you two as well. So it's kind of like a bit of a size
We
hierarchy.
do got some multi-size going on. That is a real good point.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that didn't cross my mind too much because I've definitely heard you associated with the crab, but I've never clicked two and two together that, yeah, you're the crab being carried around by someone and stepped on a lot of the time, huh?
Yes, I am, and I appreciate Liv, both for enjoying my company and bringing me around, as well as the steppies are just a bonus.
Understandable, understandable.
That means I have to look extra careful because I
All
can't
right.
Yeah.
hop on
Yeah. At least you've got your, elven eyesight that can spot a fairy
It's
in the
true.
wild. So,
It's okay. I'm
It's
I'm used to
invisible.
it. I'm plenty durable.
and we even got, a lot of people talking you up in the comments already, as well as Vil is cute enough to eat. Thank you,
Uh,
Ness.
I am a crab, and I know a lot of people like seafood, so it's just something you kind of
Right,
gotta accept
right.
with the territory.
Totally understandable. Listen, I'm a mouse, and a lot of the time before I got big, I was bite-sized to a lot of cats. And you know how many cat girl VTubers there are?
Oh, there's a lot, yeah. So
Right,
understandable.
right. I had to flip the script on them. Some of them I try to bite back if they start making those comments. Uh, but I think that's a good bit of starting banter. Let me get into the first question, which sometimes referred to as the hardest question of the interview.
Okay, all right.
Who are you? Who is Vil? You did so an introduction already, but we're just gonna
Y-
who are you?
I thought you were lying, but you're right. That probably is the hardest question
Right,
of the
right.
interview.
It really
Um,
is.
that's some like existential shit right there.
Uh-huh.
Who am I? That's a good question. So I mean, are you asking like in a holistic sense or like in a VTubing sense?
I'm asking in whatever sense you feel like answering, and honestly, I just throw that question out there as like here's the fastball, go. The rest of the interview is going to be easy
Sure.
compared to this.
Sure. No, I mean you're right though. That is a good question. Okay, so I'm someone who has always been interested in size difference. And so I was actually probably more into the size community even before I was into VTubing. Um, and I've always enjoyed having, ways to creatively express myself. And I also just, as I've gotten older, before when I was younger, I really was kind of ashamed of the things that I was interested in. And as I've gotten older, I realized that, there's no shame in it, that, we should be embracing these things. And, some of the things we're interested, whether, like kink or otherwise, they're no different than someone being interested in any other kind of vanilla interest. And so I wanted a way that I could kind of promote that um, sort of community. I wanted to have a kink positive community and let others know that they shouldn't be ashamed of those sort of things. And so one of the things that I looked into was I got really interested in VTubers, unrelated to any of what I just talked about. I'm also a big weeb. I like anime and video games and all
Relatable.
that sort of things. Yep. Big geek, big nerd. And so when I found out about VTubers, specifically Callie Mori,
Oh,
um, her um, focus on kind of being like this rapper slash like I don't know. The way she presented herself felt very real. I feel like a lot of the VTubers I had seen previous, no knock to any of them, but the ones I had seen were more on like the overly cutesy side, which I can see why a lot of people would like, but that just kind of wasn't my bag. And so when I saw Callie being kind of more down to earth, maybe tomboyish, I really kind of gravitated towards her. And because of her, I watched more VTubers, and then I found out about the indie VTuber scene, and then I found out about LewdTubers, and I just kind of went down the whole like VTuber rabbit hole. Um, and it's through that I also found out about clipping, and I was like, well, I know video editing, so I could probably try that. And I also a lot of the clips I've seen a lot of clip channels who will clip like lewd moments, but usually it's kind of like tongue in cheek, like haha oopsie, I didn't mean to do that, like how silly of me. I didn't really see a lot of clips focusing on VTubers who were kind of openly kinky or like felt comfortable talking about either kink positive or sex positive topics. And so I wanted my channel to focus on that, and that would be kind of my niche. And so I started off calling my community wholesome degenerates, because that's what I wanted a community where we could all enjoy the lewd things together, but at the same time respect people's boundaries. Always ask for consent for everything, don't make others feel uncomfortable. So like, I didn't want a community that was just about lewd stuff. I wanted to kind of have an all-encompassing community of people that could enjoy the lewd while also being very respectful of everybody involved. And so yeah, I just started clipping. Two of the main people that I clipped at the beginning, and I mean I still clip them today, are Saw VTuber, as well as Vexoria, the Sun Eater. And then from there, I've clipped a lot of VTubers. I don't even know how many, but I've really enjoyed my time doing clipping. I'm thankful to say I have somewhere around 23,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I'm still growing. So I'm really thankful that people enjoy my clips and have wanted to support, and also that they connect with the content that I clip. And then having so many VTuber friends, um, it made me want to join in the fun and actually become a VTuber myself. I saw a lot of my VTuber friends, and I was like, hey, I'm kind of jealous. I want to join in the fun too. Like.
Yeah.
So I didn't, and this was actually I never planned on being a VTuber. But what I did know was that I noticed a lot of clip channels are faceless. They just kind of put out clips and that's it. There's no personality to them, and they don't really have a forward-facing like brand or personality. And so my goal from the beginning was to kind of be like a part of the community and to engage heavily with VTubers and their communities and that sort of thing.
And if I
And
can step in for a second
oh,
right
please
there,
do.
that's kind of a big thing about why I specifically reached out to you, because to a lot of us just on only the stream side, we're only, VTuber, we do the own brand thing, we all have our own faces. Even,
Sure.
when we look at Clippers, it's like we have no clue what's going on 90% of the time, and it's kind of a problem in the community as well, where it's like one Clipper says something bad or has a bad take, and suddenly it's like, ah, yes, Clipper's bad by a bunch of people. And it really, the lack of, person brand to a lot of the Clippers does mean a lot of people make bad assumptions, lumping people together who don't belong together.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that you say that, because that's very true. I have seen a lot
Mm-hmm.
of sentiment where I feel like it goes in waves. Sometimes clippers are heralded and
Mm-hmm.
appreciated, and other times clippers are kind of demonized and like be said that they're stealing content and that they're like they don't do anything for the community and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm glad you think that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I in having a forward facing personality to my clip channel, um that has thankfully allowed me
Mm-hmm.
to interact and make friends with a lot of VTubers. And once that happened, I'm like, oh well, now I want to be a VTuber. And so yeah, like I said before, when I first introduced myself, I've been streaming for probably about 4 or 5 months. And I really enjoy it. I've really loved my time, and it's let me connect even more with other VTubers and friends. And I'm really happy with the community that I've accumulated. And I'm looking forward to where I go from here, because even right now, it was only 2 or 3 days ago, I officially am starting to work with an artist to
Ooh.
get my first model, my first 2D model.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So yeah, so soon I will be an
That's
actual full
exciting.
VTuber,
That's
rather
exciting.
than yeah.
Nice.
So I won't just have a PNG. So yeah, I'm very excited. And it's one thing that makes me very happy. I'm thankful for yourself, as well as any other friends that I've made in the community. For sometimes when you're either, it's kind of a double whammy for me. Me being a clipper and a PNG tuber, I feel like both of those things can be kind
Oh,
of
yeah, the some people on Twitter who go, if you don't have a full 2D or 3D model," or some people even just like they're so stuck up about their own model type they neglect all the other ones that are, quote, fully done according to them. But PNG tubing, it's perfectly fine. Heck, it's how a lot of people have to start off, because you can't exactly just dump in thousands of dollars of something you don't know you're gonna enjoy, right?
Oh no, exactly, yeah. And so the fact that sometimes it can make you feel less like part of the community
Yeah.
when you're seen that way, but that makes me appreciate the friends I have made along the way more, because those
Mm-hmm.
people appreciate me for me, and not for some fancy model that I have.
Not for the
Um,
bells and whistles and the golden crab armor.
exactly. And so hey, that means that once I do have the bells and whistles and golden crab armor, my friends can appreciate that even more.
Exactly.
So yeah, I would say that's me in a nutshell. So thank you for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, and well, we've already said it again, but thank you for accepting the invite and joining up as well. And
Of
we could sit
course.
here all day just thanking each other about that,
Yeah, I
couldn't
know
we?
we could.
Ay,
Absolutely.
ay. Sanus, you may need to save us from just, saying that to each other sometimes, huh?
Well, then the same goes for you guys. If I start
Ah.
to say it back, you guys have to stop me.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
We'll
no.
try to keep each other in check.
The feedback loops. Well, I guess I'll move along to what's usually the second question, and normally I ask, all right, what's your backstory, and try to go into a little bit more detail, because a lot of people give relatively short answers to who are you.
I'm sorry.
I think we covered a good bit of the background there, though. Yeah.
Yeah, we did. I feel like I just gave my whole life's backstory.
Hey, don't worry, don't worry. It just means I
That's
get to,
why we're here.
Oh, yeah,
We want to
exactly,
know
true.
your backstory.
Ah, yay,
We're
thank
gonna
you.
pry it out of you.
Which
Easy
is
way
why.
or the hard way.
Oh, jeez.
Oh
Wait,
man, okay, yeah.
good cop, bad cop?
We have that coffee machine over there. We will start boiling water.
I don't know. Sometimes I like bad cop. I mean,
I mean, when you have a bad cop that's, as cute as Sanus over there, I can see why. Right?
I
yeah,
will
that's
give you
true.
hugs. Don't make me.
Oh no. All
Given
right.
her
Well,
size, that's a real threat, actually. The question I'm going to pivot to, instead of just going, all right, what's your backstory, and trying to pry out a few more details like what was going on, instead,
sure.
I want to narrow down the question quite a bit, because this was a detail that did come up a little bit. I'm curious, why did you become the crab, or why crab?
So this is actually a funny story that I've told on my stream a couple times, because I feel like this comes up
Oh,
anytime anyone asks me about the crab. Um, so The reason why I'm the crab is it was never intentional. So when I first made my YouTube channel, I knew that I would want to have a brand that had a character kind of as the front facing part of that brand. And so I designed Liv as a character, someone who would show up as the profile image and someone who would be on the end cards, and someone that like people could would be a recognizable face, so that people would immediately see it and think of me and my channel, as well as maybe be enticed to check it out. Because I noticed that a lot of other clip channels just have a random VTuber as their profile image.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make sense because that's not them, right? Like that's just a VTuber that they like, which is fine, but it's not really great for branding. So I created Liv, and Liv is kind of a culmination of a lot of things I care about. Um, uh, Liv is Mexican, and I'm Mexican, so it just kind of made sense.
Yeah.
She has a vaporwave aesthetic because I really enjoy vaporwave. Um, she has an undercut because I like undercuts, and I've also had an undercut before, and just so there's a bunch of different kind of things about Liv that kind of culminated into being a character that I personally cared about, as well as someone who I thought maybe people would enjoy seeing, as part of my brand. And so, with that being said, after I created her, when I was first getting art for one of my end cards, I thought about it and I was like, to me, it would be kind of a sad existence for Liv to just kind of be like a character by herself with like no one or nothing to like interact with. And like also just for making art pieces, I figured it'd be more fun to have like maybe a companion that she could like bounce off of or do something with. And so in the first ever end card art that I got, I it was Liv laying down by the beach, and then a crab there with her with a little sign that says like and subscribe.
Ah.
Um, and so again, that was, and I never had the intention of being a VTuber, and I had no intention of being the crab. That was just, I just wanted to give her a companion of some sort. And so as time went on, and I eventually realized I wanted to be a VTuber, the obvious answer for, well, who's going to be my model would be Liv. But I didn't want to be Liv because Liv is her own character,
Yeah.
and Liv goes by she her, and
Yeah.
I go by he him. So if I, as a VTuber model, got Liv as my model and that's it, I would have felt very awkward having my voice come out of her mouth and then had to distinguish, well, Liv is a woman, but I go by he him, and just it would be really weird, and I don't like that. And so I thought about it. I'm like, okay, but I still want Liv to be part of my VTuber model in some way. Like what can I do? How can I make this work? And I was like, oh wait, I have the crab. What if I'm just the crab?
I see.
And so I became the crab, and it's hilarious because I still get people who see my branding even with VIL and Liv together, and they still think that I am Liv, and until they come by stream and they see me talking, and they're like, oh, that's VIL. Um, VIL's the crab. So and another funny thing that one of my friends has joked about all the time is uh it, the joke is that I apparently put myself in perilous danger all the time because I am a cute little delicious crab and I hang around a lot of monster girls. So
Yep.
it's to be expected that they might be coming after me from time to time.
I believe I've seen some of the banter as well between you and some of the what is it, octopus? Is it the octopus that quite often threatens to eat you,
Oh
or
my
is
god.
that squid? I don't know. I don't know the details.
It depends on who you're talking about. Are you talking about Adora?
Adore is the name I recognize, so probably.
Okay, yeah. She is an octopus. Yes, but yeah, there are many people who have quote unquote threatened me.
Yes. Threatening with a good time, huh?
Yeah. I was gonna say I put threatening in quotes.
When you get your 2D model, have you seen the video of the crab with the knife? That could be you.
Yes, I know, and I absolutely okay. Now that you've said that, I kind of need to make at least like a little knife asset that I can hold. That would be
Absolutely,
adorable.
absolutely. We have to arm VIL. That way,
Yes,
you can at least pretend to put up a better fight before somebody tries to eat you, right?
I was gonna say yeah. I can play along.
Exactly, exactly. The act is part of the show.
Exactly. Yep. Oh, okay. I see.
Oh,
Dooney mentioned.
yeah,
Remember
the
her from Stomper Chomp? Yes. That was Adora. Yes.
and honestly, the Stomp and Chomp, I had to actually borrow that because that was just such a good idea, especially with the rename that was given as well.
Oh yeah, no, that was my friend Batty. Batty suggested
Hmm.
that, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's an amazing name."
It's
Yes.
so
So,
perfect.
hey, if now wait, have you already done a Stomper Chomp, or do you have that planned?
So I had a 24-hour stream for 1.1K on Twitch. So I did a
Nice.
big post and got a surprising amount of people to chime in on that. A lot of which I did not expect to be, edible, but they still volunteered, so you gotta
That
take a
that's
I
bite,
got
right?
stopped.
that's great. And so no, I love that because that means officially I've started a trend. More than one person has done it. So
More than one
I'll
person has done it.
I'll,
Yes.
I'll call that a trend.
Hey, maybe if some more people in this chat see like, oh, that's fair game. We can get it actually going, huh?
Yeah, hey, if people want to do Stomper Chops, go for it. I'm definitely going to do it again in the future, but no, I love that because for me, Smasher Pass doesn't make sense because I'm personally asexual.
Yep.
Um, so Smasher Pass just didn't work because I'm not interested in smashing. So I was like, what else
Yeah,
can I do that's
just
similar?
scrolling through and going pass, pass,
Pass. That's it.
pass.
That's the whole stream. Just pass. Um,
You
so
open
instead,
up
I was like,
Twitter and pass.
yeah, I can. I'll do a Stomper Chomp. That sounds fun. And I remember some people being confused, thinking if I would Stomper Chomp them, and I'm like, no. This is if I would want you to Stomper Chomp me.
Oh, that's even funnier. I didn't
Yeah,
realize that's
exactly.
how you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
did
how
the
I did
flip
it.
side, so
That's
I was,
that's
me stomp a
that's
chump.
good. That's a good one.
Thank you. I mean, listen, I'm just a little itty bitty crab. How am I gonna Stomper Chomp people?
I don't know,
I
some
don't know.
people
You
may
find
want
a
the
way.
crab steppies.
Yeah, yeah, get little. It'd be little tippy tappies or little nibbles.
It gets the crab legs a lot closer to being eaten, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And
I now want
Dooney
you to
in
have a
chat.
top hat though too.
Dooney with the message in chat. But Vil, what if I want to be bored by a crab?
Uh, well, I mean, that's your own prerogative.
Have you
I can't
seen
control
crabs
what you
eat?
want.
It's scary, dude. I've seen crabs eat. They're terrifying.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's actually like, listen, I know I'm really cute. Crabs when they eat, it's not cute.
Oh no. Oh jeez. They're that terrifying? I haven't seen a crab eat.
It's pretty scary.
Oh.
They devour.
Devour.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, Dooney, you may want to look into that and, double check your thought there. And before I move on to the next section of questions, I do want to mention that we do try to accept questions from chat. Just make sure to end the comment with the question mark because that's what my eyes skim for in the chat if you're trying to ask something. So if you want me to catch your question, if chat's going by, make sure to re-ask it every now and then. But before that, I do want to I want to dive a little bit deeper into content creation as a whole because you did share a lot of details about various parts of it, and we got
Sure.
the broad strokes of, all right, you started, found this group, interest develops, and so forth. But I want to dive a little bit more granular into each of the components, and I'm going to start with the more recent development for you. What are your experiences with streaming so far? do you have any major good or bad moments that stand out specific to the fact that you were on a streaming platform and, live putting your content out there?
Yeah. I guess I'll start out with like the bad moments so we can kind
Okay.
of move into the good stuff. But I would say the two bad things that I can think of are dealing with scuff, which everyone deals with, but I'll
Yeah.
go a bit more into that. And then oh, what was the other thing? You know what? I'll just start on that, and then hopefully I'll remember the other thing. But
Mm-hmm.
basically, mainly the frustration with dealing with scuff is like I've been a lot better about dealing with it because, like I said, I've kind of accepted everyone deals with it. I always make the joke that scuff is the spice of life. I mean, no matter how big you get, you will always deal with scuff. So, it's not really something you can avoid. Just depends on how you deal with it. But my frustration comes from when like it's something that either is out of your control or if things really just aren't going right during a stream, sometimes it can be hard to like just
Mm-hmm.
let it roll off. A great example is I recently had a stream where I brought a friend on, and the entire stream because this was very recent and I'm streaming from a laptop. um uh like I'm currently on a laptop, which doesn't
Mm-hmm.
affect your stream because you're the one actually streaming it. I'm
Yeah.
just in a call with you. But when I'm streaming and I'm doing it from a laptop, um, obviously with my usual setup, the processing power is nowhere near the same as with a normal desktop computer. And so, not being my usual setup, I still wanted to stream, and I had a friend on, and partway through the stream basically becomes a podcast, and people can't see anything going on screen.
Oh,
The image
jeez.
is basically completely stopped. And we tried like for a minute or two to try to fix it, but when it didn't fix, I basically got so stressed out about it that I went all the way around in a circle and went around to not caring at all. So like I basically realized that if I cared about it too much, I would just focus on it the whole stream, and
Mm-hmm.
also probably would spend like half an hour trying to fix it rather than, enjoying time with my friend. And so partway through, I said to chat, I'm like, listen, I'm really sorry about the scuff tonight. Um, thank you for being here and enjoying, our conversations. Uh, you can just have us on in the background and think of it as a podcast tonight, but there's not going to be any visuals, and I'm sorry that's happening. But like, thank you for being here. And I basically just decided not to worry about it for the rest of the night because I knew there was no point in stressing about it. But my point being is that everyone deals with scuff, and sometimes you can't predict what problems there's going to be. And
Absolutely.
when you have things happening live, you just kind of have to roll with it, right?
Yep. I recall one of the most scuff streams I had, and this one was entirely user error. It's not like a Comcast monopoly in the area type of horror story, which a lot of
Sure.
people have. One of the most scuff streams I had, I booted up a game and I was playing and I was having pretty good runs. Chat was kind of quiet, but a couple of the regulars, dropped that resub. I never pressed go live until a couple hours in. The two of them
Oh
resubbed while I
no.
was offline playing the game, and I didn't realize anything was wrong.
Oh my god, no!
Even through two of
Oh,
them resubbing.
it's a scuffed not
That's
stream.
actually bad. That stresses me out just hearing that, because
Right,
I can
right.
see that happening where it's like you see people in chats, you're like, oh, obviously I'm live. Like, of
Mm-hmm,
course I'm
mm-hmm.
live. Why would someone be here while I'm offline?
Right? And they left a message in that clearly everything's going fine. Everybody's just having a slow lurk day, More power to them.
Oh my, yeah. Oh my god. Okay, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that happened to you, but yeah, that's
He's
that's a good
fine.
example. Um,
I don't think my only scuff stream I ever really had, and it wasn't even my scuff. It was a collab with Ness, Grim, and another person named Seraphir, and everyone's games were crashing.
That's not fun.
that was the scuffiest. I think. Yeah, I mean, it's just
I mean,
everyone couldn't. Their games weren't
at
running
least
well.
it wasn't stress specific to you. At least it was happening to
Yeah.
everybody. But no, I mean, I totally see why that's stressful. I remember this actually did happen to me, almost the exact same thing. We were trying to do an Uno collab, and for whatever reason, I don't know if they fixed it or if it's still horrible, and I'm not going to go back and check. But I bought Uno on Steam just for this collab, and
Mhm.
it crashed for like 3 out of the 4 people there, and it just kept crashing. And even once one person like got it working, the other 3 would crash, and it was just bad. And so that night, the same night we bought it, we all refunded it because we were like, screw that.
Yeah,
That's
doesn't that
crazy.
also require
Wow.
like Uplay to connect or something? So you have to go through a whole other account that
That
you
made it
have to
worse.
make. Yeah,
Yes, I hated that.
it's like, oh, jeez. Uno, you got the brand going for you. You don't got anything else going for you. Ooh, let's open up tabletops and pull out an Uno deck, right?
Yeah. Oh my god. It was frustrating, but and I remember the other. Okay, so the other quote unquote like
Mm-hmm.
bad thing I've experienced when streaming is, and I think this is just kind of maybe good advice for other people as well. Um, I One of the first games that I streamed when I started was one of my favorite games of all time. It is Paradise Killer. And if you haven't played it, highly recommend it, especially if you enjoy games similar to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney or just detective games in general. Very, very, very fun, and it has an awesome vaporwave aesthetic. Um, so I loved it, and I thought it'd be fun to share that love with other with the people on stream, with my audience. And the first like stream was fun, so I played it again. But I found that after 2 or 3 streams of it, I was actually having noticeably lower engagement and
Yeah.
lower viewers. And I think the reason for that is because it's more of a visual novel kind of game, and any games that are heavily story based uh, generally is harder for retention on
Mm-hmm.
viewership, because most new people who watch you, they're going to see you playing a story game where they have no idea what the story is, and they're going to be confused, and there's not like a lot of fun conversation going on with chat. It's mostly you just playing the game and reading stuff. So like there's no reason for them to stick around, so they leave. um and so yeah, it just made me feel uncomfortable. So after really only playing it, I think 3 times, I stopped playing it. Um, and I could have kept playing it, and there's nothing wrong with like if I would have done that. But I think just for my own growth and for my own like sanity, I didn't want to
Mm-hmm.
feel awkward playing a game on stream. I want to play something that I enjoy and like the viewers enjoy. Um, and so, yeah, I switched to a different game, but just kind of like that realization that, like, if you're just doing this for a hobby, and if you don't care about growth and you just want to play whatever you want, that's fine. People can play whatever they want on their stream.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are thinking about growth and you care about that sort of thing, then, it's kind of important to evaluate your own content and think, okay, what am I going to enjoy as well as my viewers? And so that was something I learned just through doing that.
Yeah. And that's definitely something
Why?
that. Oh, I'll let you go, Sanus.
It's why I don't like. I really like MMO games, Final Fantasy, World of Warcraft,
Yeah.
but I know that they are not the best for viewer retention because the games themselves are slow. Unless you're playing it, it's usually not that engaging for others.
Believe me, as someone who's not into MMOs, even playing it is not that engaging sometimes, but I'm a little cynical on MMOs.
Uh, so can I give a potential suggestion for you?
Oh?
Sure.
Sanus, something I have noticed, and I could be wrong, and obviously everyone's audience is different, but something I have noticed is that with games that are maybe a little more like um, less engaging inherently, as far as like you said, like FF14 or WoW or any kind of MMO, um, those games can actually be really great for just chatting
Mm-hmm.
because while you're grinding doing something that doesn't require a lot of like attention, you can also be like talking with chat and paying attention to that.
Mhm.
And that's something I've enjoyed with picking certain games because nowadays the games that I choose for stream, I purposefully try to choose a game that will hold my attention and be fun for me to play, but it's also very easy for me to like pause and talk with chat, or like I can go at my leisure so I can like stop whenever I want and I can like do my thing. And it's not like, because the problem is if I'm playing a game like, I've never done this, but I'm just saying as an example, if I were to play a game like Halo on stream, like you can't really pause that whenever you want and talk with chat. That's a very like intensive game where like you might glance at chat, but you're not really going to be able to sit down and have a real conversation. You're going to be focused on the game.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. I actually, I I do the opposite where you usually want to focus on the, if you're playing Halo, as you said, you're focusing on it.
Yep.
I'm always focused on chat. So my gameplay will actually lower in quality in terms of my skill because I'm
Yeah.
focused on talking to chat and interacting with them. But I'm streaming for my chat, so that's my whole thing. Talking.
That's great. I love that. And I'm
Mm.
sure your chat enjoys that as well.
Hmm.
I'm a
So
little bit of an oddball if I want to just continue the tangent for a
oh,
second.
please go. Yeah.
So, picking a game that you're comfortable with to ramble through, absolutely. Although, a lot of the games I play for that purpose are, not exactly low energy or low focus games. Are you familiar with Killing Floor 2?
I haven't played it myself, but yes, I know what it is. Yep.
Yeah, a huge
That
swarm of enemies, first person shooter, always
that
doing
is not
something.
not a chill game. Yeah.
Those are the games I just, buckle up on, and that's rambling floor time. We just talking.
That's
Or
great. I
some
love that.
things like, oh yeah, this is a boss rush bullet hell type of game. Alright, well, the body's gonna be on autopilot. Let me just glance at chat all the time. Ugh.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And you had said good things about streaming.
Yep, good things as well.
So the good things, I mean, the number one thing I can think of just off the top of my head, and I think I kind of mentioned this before, but just getting to make it like grow a community, right, and really engage with people, because the closest thing I had to that was replying to comments on YouTube. But
Yeah.
even then, like that helps, but it's not as personal as something like Twitch, where people can come on and talk to me, and I can have a real live conversation with them,
Mm-hmm.
and it just feels a lot more personal. And so I really love the interaction and the community that I've built, and I think that's my favorite part, as well as the ability to do a lot of collaborations with VTuber friends and kind of get to hang out with them and like you know what it reminds me of, and this is such a funny example, but I feel like a lot of people will like, understand it. um did you ever, like when you were younger watching cartoons, did you ever see, especially like on Cartoon Network, when they did like crossover episodes or crossover segments,
So,
like
Johnny Bravo and Samurai Jack at the laundromat.
yeah, that. Or like I was gonna say, there was an episode of Scooby Doo and Johnny Bravo and stuff like that. Like, yeah, when they did similar stuff to that. To me, that's what VTubing is. Like when you do a collab with other VTubers, it feels like, you get to bring these two people together who, maybe they're people in their community watch both of them by chance. Maybe they don't. Maybe you introduce them to new people. But it like also you can have VTubers interacting who look nothing alike, whose lores have nothing in common, but it's just kind of a fun thing to see like different personalities and different characters interact. And I that's one of my favorite parts. So I just think that that aspect is a lot of fun.
You know, I certainly sound. I agree.
coming coming from a roleplay background, seeing everyone's designs and personal creations, thoughts, backgrounds come together, do their collabs. My mind, I always try to go, all right, what if we, piece these two characters together somehow through their backgrounds somewhere over here, and I make my own little small head canons and stuff like that of how these characters would have met and stuff like that.
That's so cute. I love that. That's great. I've actually one thing that's nice, and I'm not going to reveal too much because this will be eventually in an actual full
Ooh.
lore video. But part of my lore actually makes it canon that technically anyone from any other potential um, dimension can visit where I'm from. Um, so I've kind of built it into the lore that this sort of thing is possible and normal where I come from.
Makes sense, makes sense. I know for
It
myself, it's like we got the world tree Norse mythos, all the worlds connected somehow, and Sanus
Yeah,
is actually not from Earth, so.
hmm I'm actually lore-wise trans-dimensional, uh, using magic to go to different dimensions and different planes of existence.
that's so cool. I love that. Yeah, like, and that's the thing is that we don't need reasons
Mm-hmm.
or lore to have any of this happen. But in my opinion, I think it's a lot of fun. And Sandus, like you said, like you come from the kind of the um, role player perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and I've always been into role playing, and I've always been very like creative. I've always been a writer, and so just coming from that background makes me more into the idea of having things be either lore accurate or just coming up with reasons for things, right?
hmm
Yep.
Yes, yeah, piecing together lore, doing kind of like your own little small head canons with stuff. That's
Yep.
when I met, like with Ness, when I met her, um, we got into a voice call one day and we basically wrote out an entire storyline of how Sanus and Ness met each other.
That's cute. I love that.
And most of my experience with roleplay is just the live action and like D&D type of stuff where I may not have too much of the backstory or narrative going on behind the scenes, but a lot of the time I just get into character and it's just go time for whatever the character decides to be. Featuring
Yeah.
a non-zero number of mage lamias.
That is cool though, because yeah, I mean, I love playing D&D and other role playing games, so I think that's cool as well.
Just gotta, tie in all you want to just what you want love to do. And getting all this tied into VTubing, characters and all that. Absolutely see where that, comes in and be a huge positive side of things.
Yeah, I think that's one of my favorite parts of VTubing is how creative it is, and so you can really just kind of uh, mix a bunch of things together. I mean, whether that's role playing, music, writing, entertaining. I mean, literally if you're a singer, you're singing. Like there's anything under the sun. You can try and do with VTubing.
Yep, like my only gimmick is being big, but that's a gimmick all the same.
Hey, if it's a,
It's
if it's a
not your
gimmick, you
only gimmick.
that
Hey.
is true. But hey, if you enjoy that, then that's all that matters, and it
Hmm.
seems like your community enjoys it as well.
They seem to have a good time sometimes, though Sometimes I may suspect they like the cat girl a little more than the mouse. You know, big cat girl thighs or something, right?
I mean, who can blame them?
I don't think Chad's looking hard enough at your chest, though, Saru. You've got some good pecs going on.
You know, fair enough. Fair enough.
Sanus is correct.
All right. And with that, unless there's any other specific good things about your time streaming you'd like to share, I'll move on to the next question.
Yeah, please do.
All right. I'd like to, kind of same question, but towards your time clipping and making the YouTube content for it. Either, well, just overall, but I am curious if there's a difference between the pre-streaming era of clipping and the post-streaming as well, or maybe a little bit of different interaction, but are there any positive or negative experiences you've had clipping people and making content for YouTube specifically?
Yeah, oh my god. I mean, positives, I will say that there's it's really nice being able to clip someone and kind of like, especially if I promote it and put it out on Twitter or something and let people, because I always like letting people know that when I've clipped someone, I always make sure to tag them so that they're aware of it. And one of my favorite things about clipping indie VTubers is a lot of indie VTubers aren't used to getting clipped. Like, if I were to clip one of like VShojo or Hololive, none of them are going to care that I've clipped them, right? Because they get clipped all the time, and they're too busy to notice anything like that. Whereas for indies, it's it's kind of more of a big deal because you're having someone who appreciates your content and is sharing it with others, and that can potentially help you get even more of an audience. And so I'm someone who I've used the example of, like, if you've ever made food for someone and you like bring it to them and you're like, oh, here's this like meal I made you. Please enjoy it. I hope you like it. Tell me if you like it. Like, I would love to hear any feedback. And that's how I am with clips. Where if I clip someone, I'm like, here's the clip. Please enjoy it. I hope you like it. Like,
Yeah.
And so yeah, I love that kind of engagement and interaction with people, and it's made me very happy that with my focus on having a more kink positive community and focusing on maybe like kinkier moments on YouTube, that there's an audience for it there and people enjoy that stuff. So I'm glad that the kind of niche that I chose, people are gravitating towards it. So I'm very happy about that.
That's
That's
good. That's
the
good.
the thank you. Yeah. That's definitely the best stuff. The bad stuff, dealing with YouTube is a pain.
I can only
Uh,
imagine.
uh, you can imagine, especially with me focusing on you know kinkier or looter moments. Sometimes they give me a slap on the wrist.
I do recall some of your Vorday conversation with Vex and a couple other people, I believe, as well.
Yes,
About,
yeah.
sometimes, YouTube very rarely goes, oh, nope, that's fine. But more often than not, they were going, I don't think this one's fine, even though you went through and thought it wasn't that bad, right?
Yeah, the frustrating thing is that the majority of my clips are fine. But what they'll do is they'll just, like, the bot will see something and flag it, and then I'll ask them to review it, and it'll take a few days, and then after a manual review, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, never mind, this clip's fine." Like, the bot just overcorrected. But even lately on stuff that does get flagged, it makes me extremely upset because I've had one clip that got manually reviewed and was approved, right? Then I recently put up a clip of another VTuber, reacting to that clip, and that reaction clip got got hit with limited ads
Really?
because it wasn't appropriate. And when I asked them to manually review it, they manually reviewed it, and you want to know what they said? They said that the rating was correct, that it deserves limited ads because of adult content, and the adult content that they claimed was in the video was the clip that she watched,
That got
even though
approved before by YouTube manual review.
So here's the problem. The original clip is okay, but the clip of someone reacting to that clip is not okay. This
And
is the
was it
incons.
someone who works for YouTube? You had multiple people who work for YouTube to review those clips. The first one was like, "This is fine," and then they had to set another person for the second clip with their version of an opinion, going, "This is not fine."
You nailed it. I think that's exactly what
Uh-huh.
happened. And it really, really genuinely pisses me off because it creates this air of inconsistency where I don't know what's gonna get flagged and what isn't. So all I can do is put up what I think is content that I want to put out. And if they flag it, great. I'll always ask them to manually review it and we'll go from there. But it's made me want to, like, before I was trying to analyze, like, okay, I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of gauging, like, this is okay, this is not okay, and this is kind of on the line. Well, now that line has gotten thicker because now I'm unsure because I'm like, well, this was okay, but this isn't. Like, it,
Keeps
it just
moving.
makes yeah. So at this point, I've kind of decided to stop worrying about it and just put out what I want to put out. And
Mm-hmm.
if they flag it, then whatever. But if I were to be overly cautious and try to completely avoid that line, then I would only be putting out clips that, like, I wouldn't be putting out any kinky topic or
Mm-hmm.
lewd joke clips. Like, none of those would ever be put out if I was being completely, like, okay, I don't even want to touch the line. But that content matters a lot to me, and I also think that I genuinely don't think that it hits the goes against their community guidelines as far as what is appropriate and not appropriate for advertising, because most of the time it's like allusion to things, or like a you know what I mean, like it's never
Mm-hmm.
out like explicit or like uh outwardly like sexual, right?
Oh yeah,
um
absolutely.
but you know sometimes it seems like they just randomly decide to err on the side of being a bit more on the I guess, prude side, or like being overly protective of their advertisers. And I don't know. It's frustrating, but it's something that I've just kind of accepted and learned to deal with. And it's one of the reasons why I have been so heavily investing in doing things on Twitch,
Mm-hmm.
because as many problems as people have had on Twitch, Twitch is definitely more lenient about that stuff. Um, so eventually, like right now, most of my business is on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But I would eventually like to get to a point where I'm really spending half my time on Twitch and half my time on YouTube, because I don't want to have to wholly rely on YouTube. Um, because
Yep.
as you can see, it's fickle, and you never know what they're going to be okay and not okay with.
YouTube
So
and their double standards exist all over the site.
yeah, it's very frustrating.
If you look into any of the more disturbing rabbit holes on YouTube as well, there is a lot goes on where a lot of it seems to tie into the more traction you get, the more you're subjected to the rules as well. Like,
Yeah.
let's say one recent example, there was a case of a YouTube channel that had gone on for months and months that was putting on skits that was basically amount to, child abuse.
Hmm.
And
Ugh.
we get one or two videos, reporting on that. And note that channel that was, doing that full monetization, the video covering literally only content from that and saying, "Hey guys, this is a problem." YouTube goes, "Oh, that's not advertiser friendly." Slap. Like, Huge double standards around the website.
It's horrible that covering something like that
Mm-hmm.
is even like bad in YouTube's eyes. Like
Right?
it's very infuriating. And the problem too is even getting hit with limited ads, it's
Mm-hmm.
basically the same thing as getting hit with like content restriction, because the revenue that you make on limited advertising, like let's pretend for every dollar that you would normally make, you would make like 10 cents. So it basically like completely kneecaps any kind of monetization you would make, and it kills the searchability. Um, so it makes your video harder to find. So it's very frustrating all around.
Yeah,
Like,
understandably so.
that's a lot of social media going on
Mm-hmm.
nowadays. Twitter is the same way. TikTok. My, so I have my Not Safe for Work Twitter account that I post one picture and, it's a Not Safe for Work picture. It's flagged, but it immediately gets shadow banned. Whereas I'll see other accounts, they'll post something way worse than what I've posted, and they're not shadow banned. Their stuff can spread out everywhere, and it's perfectly fine for them.
Sometimes even without the warning.
And
Yeah, that's very frustrating.
Twitch has its problems too,
Mm-hmm.
where especially with VTubers right now are getting hit hard
I've seen a couple
bans
bans
and
going on, yeah.
um these. It makes sense for they want advertisers and stuff, money coming their way, and they're afraid that these things going on will get rid of it. But give us a better guideline, or don't put a bot in charge of saying what's good and what isn't good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That even so that might interfere with some of the interview schedules coming up as well, actually, because somebody I reached out to be the next guest, who is somebody I believe VIL is clipped as well, Chonky Lotus.
Yes,
Yeah.
Chunky.
So Chonky got hit by a 3-day ban recently, and when I reached out to her to go, hey, how's everything? You still good for an interview? We still got to plan a day. She was expressing being a lot more cautious about, actually joining up and collabing with people because she doesn't want to endanger anybody else's channels because Twitch didn't say what happened or what part of the stream was the problem. So,
Yeah, and that's the most infuriating thing is
mm-hmm.
the fact that they aren't. It would be okay to me if they gave you a definitive reason, but
Yeah.
if they just kind of slap you with a ban and not tell you why, then you're just left guessing. And you know, it makes me mad because I've seen some people put the onus on on those VTubers being like, well, you're towing the line, so like that's your fault. But like.
We
I don't
don't
think
know
people.
where the line is.
Yeah, exactly. Like it wouldn't be a problem if there was very definitive rules and guidelines, and the fact that there's not
Mm-hmm.
leaves too much wiggle room for people to, like people are always going to explore, and especially when you have people wanting to have more kink positive or sex positive communities, you know, like they want to be included too, and they don't want to go against the rules. They just want to know where the rules are.
Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people do toe the line as well very deliberately on Twitch, and that's a lot of the big name streamers that never get slapped with more than, 5-minute ban because they make too much money or something. Because there was an
Mm-hmm.
entire era of Twitch where it's like, welcome to the hot tubs, beaches, and swimsuits era. Everybody's
Yes.
in a bikini.
And then they
Yep.
made an
Yep.
entire category just for that.
Yep. Because hey, y'all that's kind of you're very deliberately knowing what you're doing, and now here's a fix. It's probably the most duct tape Twitch will see in another 5 years or so, huh? Hey, there's a lot of issues with a whole lot of sites, but we just do
And
what we can, right?
especially right now on Twitch with the clothing situation they're doing. Um, people have put out like oh, we think this is their guidelines. But since they haven't really given us a guideline,
Yeah.
there are people who they followed that supposed guideline and they got in trouble even through following that guideline.
We got people going in-depth theories like, these are the exact portions of the boob that qualify as underboob, which is banned by Twitch or such, and just no response. Yeah.
But yeah, that's the problem, is that it's all just theory.
Mm-hmm. If only open communication was a thing with more of the people behind the scenes too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like
If only.
it's not like a VTuber who gets on Twitter and then tags Twitch support and go, "Hey, how is this character's design outfit? Would it be fine?" Because they couldn't do that because it's the same issue you had with your YouTube with that video. One employee might go, "Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That fits our standards," and then the next moment, Twitter or Twitch person number 2 comes in and goes, "That's not fine. You're banned for a few days."
Or even worse, just somebody with a bad mood coming and going, we're gonna ruin some of these edge cases.
False reports from trolls are big with that.
It's just, as we talked about, it's very inconsistent, and I wish that there was more, at least like you said, if there were strict guidelines that you had to follow, at least then we would know, okay, this is the reason why someone got banned. They know what to avoid or what not to do in the future. Instead, it's just like, all right, I guess I gotta figure it out for myself, right?
Gotta figure it out. Gotta do your best, and you keep figuring out as it goes because it keeps changing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the game we gotta play until somebody gets their head screwed on at the top of the chain, right?
Yep.
For that, I think that makes a good segue into the next one, a little bit more back into the positive side of things. You mentioned, various communities, various people you've gotten to interact with through your clipping, as well as some of the pre-content communities, potentially, but I would like to dig a little bit more into what sort of communities have you been involved with, either before your content creation, clipping, streaming, and during it, thanks to the clipping or streaming. What sort of communities?
Oh, I'm sorry, can you say that again?
What sort of communities have you been involved with that either led up to you joining the clipping and streaming side, or got to take part in because of clipping and streaming?
So that's kind of a tough question, because the only two that I can really think of, obviously, like I said, I was in the size community even before VTubing, because I've always had a size kink, and so I was there, and then with VTubing, I kind of got into the indie space. And I guess then, like, as far as communities I've been in, you could really just technically say any VTuber who I've clipped, I guess I'm technically part of their community, because either I, frequent their streams, or I'm on their Discord, or I, talk to them personally, or I've had them on my stream. So yeah, I've definitely been part of a lot of communities. It's just that it's a lot of like kind of individual streamers communities, rather than like, one specific one. And then obviously just the VTuber community as a whole.
That does make sense. Narrowing in a little bit then, are there any particular communities or people's communities that you've gotten involved in that have stood out to you in any particular ways? Or as well, just you're trying to build up a community of yourself for the, kink positive space and all that. How's your community been faring as far as fostering and your goals?
Oh yeah, thank you. That's a great question. I will say, to complement other VTubers, I will say two of the communities that I've been in You know what? I'll add a third. So obviously I love all the VTuber communities that I've been in,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, all my VTuber friends. But three of the communities that have stuck out to me the most have been Vexoria's community, um, which is very similarly, you know, kink positive, and
Yeah.
Victoria also is into like things like size difference and vor. So it's been nice to see her being so not just accepting, but obviously promoting of those things. And you know, her community shows that, and is also just equally just as nice as she is. And she always does a good job of trying to you know, she's heavily in with like the mod team, and the mod team does a great job of kind of shaping the community, right? As does any mod team of any Twitch or, you know, Discord server. Um, and Marina, if anyone knows who Marina is, Marina does a wonderful job with her community. She does, you know, a lot of stuff with like LGBTQ, as well as just I think that the things that she educates and promotes about is very good, and she's also just a kind person in the VTuber community, and I appreciated that she reached out to me when I was still even smaller than I am now, um, and she is one of those people who doesn't really care about like your numbers and that sort of thing, but more just cares about what kind of content creator you are and what you promote, you know, as a fellow streamer. And so you know, I appreciate her and her community a lot. And then also Ava Lamp, for anyone who knows Ava Lamp, she is a lava lamp, sentient lava lamp VTuber. um, and honestly, I pinpoint her just because I've been a long follower of her and her content, and her community has always been super nice. You know, I think there's a wonderful thing about how they say the chat reflects the streamer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have a good chat and you have a good community, then that speaks really highly of you. And I think that that should definitely be given props when you have a nice community. That just means that you've done a good job fostering, you know, the people that gravitate towards you. Um, so those three kind of stick out to me when you asked, but also with my own community, yeah, I'm very happy with my community. Uh, my proudest moment recently was that I think it was yesterday, or maybe no, the day before, but yeah, very
Mm-hmm.
recently. I did a Minecraft stream. It was my first ever Minecraft stream, and I had two of my real life friends
Ooh.
on stream with me as well. And one of them frequented my chat before, so they knew what kind of content to expect. The other friend knew what to expect, but hadn't really like been around my streams that much, so she was kind of more out of the loop.
Yep.
Um, and so the three of us were in a voice call during stream, hanging out playing Minecraft, and my chat was so nice. Like everyone was like, it was basically just a normal stream, but they really like enjoyed interacting with my friends, and no one made any weird comments. Um, all the jokes that they made were like very like in good taste, and like we even still got to talk about like a couple kinky things, but no one ever like overstepped any boundaries. Like I think I got a little bit nervous because bringing in two of my real life friends in, I thought that maybe chat would like, not that my community would do this, but maybe someone who's not at, maybe someone newer to the community who isn't one of my regulars. I thought maybe because they had seen me talking about kinky things in the past, maybe they would think that it's okay to ask those same kinky questions to my friends. And I never want my friends to be put in an awkward place or be asked something that they're not comfortable answering. Um, and so I was a little apprehensive about that, but my community proved to me just how thoughtful and wonderful they are, because they were still their degenerate selves, but they were still able to respect everybody on stream, and that just means a lot to me, because it means that I have the kind of community that of people that I want to attract, right?
So you hit that target of wholesome degenerates, huh?
Exactly, exactly. And actually, this is really funny. This only started happening very recently, but I was happy that I recently came up with something to call my chat,
Oh.
because I call them wholesome degenerates before, but
Mm-hmm.
like, while that's what I want and that is a fitting name, it's very impersonal,
Yeah.
because technically anyone can call their chat wholesome degenerates. It's not really like a branding kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So someone suggested this and I ran with it because I love it. Is I call my community filthy degenerates.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah,
That's
right,
clever.
right. And the moment I heard it, I was like, "Oh my god, that's absolutely what I'm calling everyone now." So, yes, I have a wonderful little community of filthy degenerates.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. It sounds like a lot of good experiences with a lot of good communities, especially being able to build up a good one of your own.
Yes, absolutely.
So, narrowing into a few of the communities you've mentioned, I imagine there's going to be some overlap with this next question, but
Sure.
you did briefly mention some of the people who got you into the rabbit hole of VTubers and led you to being, a crab on a shoulder, on a
Yep.
tiny set, on a chocolate table in a room. But are there any particular people that you could point to and say they're an inspiration or a major influence to what you do now and to how you got here?
Oh man. Um, I think three people I can basically immediately point to
Mm-hmm.
um I mentioned two of them already. Saw,
Yep.
Vexoria, and also Spite. Um, those are
Oh.
three people who
Yep.
I can very much point to, because all three of them, uh, when I first started clipping them, they were the first people to really um, appreciate like my work, the clips that I did of them, and just me as a fellow content creator. Because I feel like a lot of people, when I first started clipping, I honestly got ignored every time I like clipped someone and added them on Twitter. And it's not even like I wasn't expecting people to like recognize me or to like engage with my content,
Mm-hmm.
but like, for example, like if you clip someone, it might be nice to like get a like from them or some kind of acknowledgement, right?
Yeah.
um and it's not, like I said, it's not always required, and but the fact that they immediately really latched on to my content and like appreciated the work that I did, and made sure to share it with their communities and stuff like that. That really inspired me to like keep wanting to clip them, and also just be greater part of their communities. And that really meant a lot to me as a small creator. And I mean, even now, I'm still part of a deep part of their communities, and
Mm-hmm.
it still means just as much to me, because I now appreciate them as like fellow content creators, as friends. But in the beginning, when I really didn't know anybody in the community and I was really small and people didn't really seem to give me the time of day, the fact that they were being so kind as to praise my work or thank me, um, just kind of really motivated me to keep going. And yeah, so there's a reason why I'm still close friends with all three of them, and I clip them still now. So yeah, they were definitely those three were for sure people that I looked up to, and still do.
Yeah, it never gets to be, less impactful, but there's always something special about the first few times you get acknowledged for your effort.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think it kind of speaks to what you said before too. I know you said that sometimes you get nervous reaching out to people for an interview.
Absolutely.
And it's understandable. Not everyone you reach out to is gonna answer, and also
Mm-hmm.
not everyone that you reach out to is going to be available to do an interview, especially if they have a lot busy already going on in their VTubing career. But at the same time, though, it's nice that when those people can, take the time to either do an interview with me or with you, or if they engage in my, clipping content, um, it definitely speaks to you and means a lot to you.
Mm-hmm. And it really is something where it's like, remarkably, sometimes, for me, the paranoia may be a little bit out there because I don't reach out to as many people as you might think. Most of the people have either gone, I'm busy, but that's interesting, and we have, tentative slots in the future for them, or had a response a lot like yours where it's like, oh, wow, sign me up.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
for some reason, most of the people is like, oh, that's just kind of a crazy idea. Let's go. When they hear about the size gimmick, sometimes people go to that, and I'm really
Mm-hmm.
hoping to find people who really do just vibe with it more, though.
It's me being, the kaiju size thing and all of that. I had to tell people, I'm not into the vor stuff, and I
Mm-hmm.
had to put my foot down on it
Yeah.
because um, some people started to relate me to that, and I do not like this. I do not want to be known for this.
Yeah, no, I'm the person in the room that eats people. Leave Sanus out of that,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, I don't like that.
And I'm sorry that you had to deal with that, but I think it's great that you could set that boundary and that you did do that,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean that was one of my points about having a respectful kink positive
Yep.
community, because even though I'm personally into vor, that doesn't mean that other people are, nor that you should push it on people. So you always got to be careful about how you navigate the kink space, and who you interact in that way, because something else I've mentioned before, especially with my chat, I've told people, I'm like, listen, there are things that you can joke about and talk about here in my chat that you can't joke about in other communities, because you don't know if they're comfortable with that. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's always important to go into any community or space and be very cognizant and aware of where their boundaries are and what they're okay with, because the moment they give you the okay, then great, you can joke about whatever you want, but never push something on someone else that they haven't given you consent for, that you don't know where their boundaries are, right?
Yeah, that's really important, and something that, albeit rarely, does wind up coming up for the occasional raid where it's like, so once upon a time I had a very different model. Have you seen the Mouse 1.0 model at all?
I have not.
You have not? Here, I'll
Oh.
switch to it for a moment. I'll switch to it for a
Sure.
moment. So, the Mouse 1.0 model.
I'm curious.
Not the most manly here. Not the most manly at all.
No,
But
yeah, yeah.
with
Kind of
this
have
being
a
how it
little brother
was,
attitude.
yeah. So I didn't mind it. It is close
It's
enough
cute.
and
It's
it works,
cute.
right?
Yeah.
It's cute, and I don't mind the cute. But oh, the expressions are going wild because I don't have that locked at the moment. Okay, there we go. There we go. So this one is like, okay, this was a self-edited job of, just a model that was available. I literally flattened off the boobs because not a lady. And then it's like, oh, one of my friends who, well, there's a long story to that. We don't want to go into that rabbit hole, but one of the friends who hasn't mentioned it before just pops in with the raid. It's a real strong raid, a good 30 people or something out of the blue all chanting the raid message. That's, normally that's a hype moment, right?
Sure.
All of them are, coming out of the woodworks like, me want femboy mouse. And I just sit there like, no, No. No femboy, that is... do not call me that. That's not what I'm going for. I'm just me.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
that's the difference why, Mouse 2.0, the version you've seen a lot more, and the version I've been using for the rest of the interview is
Very
perhaps a
masculine.
little bit over the line on masculine, where it's like, yeah, I'm not, gonna pretend to be this buff IRL or anything, but it gets the point across as like, yeah, there's a dude here, not, no femboy intent.
No, and
Uh-huh.
that's... What were you gonna say, Sanus?
No, go on.
I was gonna say, no, it definitely suits you, and
Mhm.
I think that's one of those things where I know there's people who identify as femboy or
Mhm.
like being that way, and that's great for them. But that doesn't mean that you should go around just calling people that.
Yeah,
Like, if
it's
you
not a
don't know
blanket
they're
title.
exactly, like, I don't know. To me, that would be like going into someone's stream who you don't know, like
Mhm.
their interests or whatever, and you just go like let's say you get a raid and it's just like, you're a bottom, like you know what I mean, like calling someone like something that you
Oh
don't know, if
yeah.
like you don't know how they identify, you don't know if they're a top or a bottom or a sub or a dom or a switch or whatever, but kind of poking, like pointing at someone and just going, you're this. It's like, hey, you
Here's a
don't know if I...
button. Let's press it.
yeah, you're like, you don't know if I'm okay with that. So
Mhm.
yeah, no, I definitely think it's important for everyone to respect people's boundaries.
Yeah, and especially if it's a friend popping in that hasn't even questioned about it. It's like, oh, yeah, that's kind of extra out there. So
Yeah, yeah.
if you thought it was like a community or a friend that you built up that wound up pushing it, then not realizing it, it's like, yeah, that's not good. That the
Mhm.
boundaries are important. Getting that all established is important, and especially for something that is on the line, asking about it, just getting a clear answer. That's kind of conversation. That's what people should be doing, right?
Mhm. Yeah. So even though I'm sorry you two have dealt with that, but I think everyone deals with that kind
Mm-hmm.
of thing at some point, especially if you're a streamer. And so I'm glad
Mm-hmm.
that it seems like we've all done a good job of setting those boundaries when they need to be set.
Yeah, something
It's good to have
comes
your
up for everybody.
boundaries.
I know a lot of people have to do it quite a bit more because it is something that does come up, especially for a lot of people that are LGBTQ and various other protected groups. Heck, I hope that people haven't had to deal with racist comments and trying to set those boundaries, but I imagine a lot of people have. There's always some sort of discourse in the community, like even earlier today on Twitter, someone's bringing up something where it's like, why are people defending something that's just racist, right?
Yeah, I actually tweeted about that
Yeah,
earlier.
that's why I caught it at all, because you made mention of it. It's like, that's not cool what they're doing.
No, very not cool. And to me, that's not even setting a boundary thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's just
Human
n-
decency.
not engaging, slash, like, if you say anything like that in my chat, I'm just gonna ban that. Like, that's not even a
Mm-hmm.
warning kind of situation, because I don't want to anyone who either promotes or accepts that sort of content. I don't want to be engaging with.
Yeah, there's an unfortunate amount of people who take to arms on Twitter to be like, they did nothing wrong, making jokes about being racist or just being racist and claiming it's a joke. It's like, ugh, right?
Yeah, definitely not okay with that.
I don't.
Whew.
I just don't understand why people can't just. It's easier to not than it is to do.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
very right. You're very right.
They made their choice, and they have decided this is the hill with the first hill they find.
It is weird that, like, there are some people who, like, choose, like, this is the hill I want to die on, and I'm like, really? Are you
Yeah,
sure?
that's not even a hill. You literally just walked into the playground sandbox and started, pissing everywhere.
Yeah.
Hey.
So
Jeez.
that's not fun.
Mm-hmm. a whole lot of issues where people's understanding needs to, they need to understand they ain't welcome sometimes. They need to understand limits for reasonable people, and just gotta make sure whatever you're doing is a good place for everybody involved, and if you ain't being part of the good place and you're part of the problem, knock it off.
Yep.
I think we that might have been a little bit of a rambling tangent for a second there, because
No, no,
I
it's
feel like I
okay.
needed to say something too, apparently.
Yeah, no, I mean it was something that really upset me when it happened, and that's why I tried to ignore it for a while because
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to involve myself in that kind of stuff because I usually feel like I have nothing to add, right? Like I
Yeah.
would just be kind of saying the same thing as everyone else, and you know, as a VTuber, usually because we're here for entertainment, it's usually better to stay out of anything that's like drama heavy. But what I will say though is there are times where, it is okay to involve yourself if it's something you feel deeply, you know, if you something you feel deeply about. And for me in that instance, the only reason why I said something is because I noticed that there were not just like one or two people. There were a fair number of people who were trying to either defend it or hand wave it away as not being a big deal. And so that's why I quote retweeted it and said something because I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like, listen, at the very least, I want to get this out there since I see a lot of people defending this. I personally don't think it's okay, and I don't find edgy humor funny. And if you like edgy humor and you think it's funny, then that's on you, and my community is not for you. But, I wanted to make it very clear what kind of content I
Mm-hmm.
am okay with and not okay with. And this is an example of something I am definitely not okay with.
Absolutely.
Edgy humor can be okay if it's within taste. With what happened, that was not within good taste, and I don't even know if I would call that edgy humor myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
A lot of where edgy humor actually, is helpful sometimes is where this is my experience or my shared experience that I'm coping with as, this, that even people with the same shared experience, they aren't gonna, hit on it the same, and that's something really,
Mm-hmm.
personal if it's even working in actually edgy humor and not just, I'm a horrible person, laugh, right?
Yes.
there
Um,
there's there's a reason why a lot of edgy humor is done by professional comedians
Mm-hmm.
because they are literally professionals and they've workshopped their jokes in such a way that usually might be kind of shocking and semi-offensive, but not so much that it makes you like, you know, gawk. At least when it's done
mm-hmm.
well. Like they do it, as I think Sanus, as you mentioned, in a tasteful way. Um, but that's why they're professionals because they know how
Mm-hmm.
to toe that line. A lot of edgy humor is just kind of saying a bad thing for the sake of it. And sometimes it also even points to your own beliefs and things that you're okay with, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, so I don't know. I generally don't like edgy humor, and I very rarely do I find that it's in good taste or even humorous. So, I try to stay away from it, and I just don't engage with that sort of thing. So when people were kind of defending it, I was like, listen, I've heard some edgy jokes before, and sure, a small handful of them could be seen as funny, but very rarely are they either funny or in good taste. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I usually think it's best just to not even engage with it.
I think a person he does a little bit of his own edgy humor, but it's edgy to himself with the situation.
Hmm.
Grimpora, he had a bad situation that happened last year, and he'll make jokes about it to himself because that's how he coped with the issue.
Yes.
That
Hmm.
kind of edgy humor
Mm-hmm.
I think is fine because he's not doing it to harm someone else. He's not doing it to bring down someone else. He's doing it to help him cope with a situation. and it is what he enjoys.
I agree. It's not at someone's expense.
Mhm.
It's at his own
Yes.
expense. It's a self-deprecating humor, which I
Yeah.
like. I
Yes.
like self-deprecating humor.
Self-deprecation is kind of like
Like,
edgy, but
if you
it's its
know
own version of
everybody's in on the
edgy.
joke, then it can still be a
Yes.
joke.
Exactly.
And,
And also, I would like to point out that I think there is a difference between edgy humor and dark humor.
mhm.
Because I've heard some really funny dark jokes, but like the 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 darkness, like, it doesn't mean you just say something offensive, right? I think that's the
Yeah.
problem. A lot of people think edgy and dark humor means you can just say something offensive and get away with it. Um, I know, and I don't want to give any specifics, but I know a VTuber who is dealing with some major illnesses,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so they will use dark humor as a way of making light and joking about their own situation because that's just how they deal with it. Kind of like what you said, Sanus. And so it's funny, but it's also really dark. And like, if someone's joking about their own illness or their own mortality, yeah, that's kind of messed up. But also, like, it's how they cope with it. And if they can bring humor out of something that's kind of a dark topic, then I think that's kind of nice for themselves and their community because it's making people laugh. But everyone is in on the joke. It's not like they're making fun of someone else's illness or someone else's problems. Um, so I don't know. There's, as I said, there's a line, and you kind of need to know where it is. And being dark or edgy doesn't just mean you get to say something offensive,
Yep.
right?
Yes. And to kind of add on to that a little bit, I know we're sticking on a big topic for this. I'm sorry.
We're about to move into
No,
free space, so the only question I got is like, oh, this is a very short question that won't tangent at all, so keep
Yeah.
on with it.
don't worry about it. I
Um,
mean, this is an important topic.
Mm-hmm.
if someone is does that joke, that humor towards themselves, and so I'll put the scenario out. We'll use Grim. He does the jokes to himself, and his friends, the people he knows close, does the humor.
Yeah.
And you, knowing him, raids him, and one of your chat members hears the joke and then says it. That's not cool because that chat member who's not normally in Grim's chat
Mm-hmm.
and doesn't really understand the actual situation and doesn't understand Grim, you need if you want to be able to make these jokes towards your friend or towards someone who makes that edgy or dark towards themselves or self-deprecation, you need to know the person.
Yeah.
This is a very, very light example, but I'll add on to that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I will, in a self-deprecating way, I will sometimes call myself stupid. Um, but if some random person came up to me and was like, "You're stupid," I'd be like, "Hey, shut up! You're not allowed to call me stupid." Like,
Only I'm allowed to call me stupid.
yeah,
But if you had a
exactly.
close
Yeah.
friend come up to you and was like, "You're stupid," you'd be like, "Haha, no you," and
Yeah,
then joke around and say nothing.
yeah, exactly. No, because they would know that that's like our like how we joke around, and like they've heard me say that. So yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Yes, absolutely.
I do have a couple of 2 cents, especially on the self, yes, haha, I'm so dumb right now type of jokes,
Please
because
go ahead.
for a pretty serious amount of stream time when I was early into affiliate, I played a lot of games that try to do a lot of, moment-to-moment strategy, XCOM, Darkest Dungeon, those types of things.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times I make a dumb mistake, I would play it off and go, ha ha, me dumb type of thing. But you gotta be careful with that as well, because if you repeat something, it will stick, regardless of if you intend it or not. So
Yeah, it'll
as
become like a meme in
Mhm.
your community.
Well, not even that. It'll stick to you as well. Like
Okay, yeah.
sometimes you might be going about, you make a mistake, and instead of just shrugging it off and fixing it real quick, you'll take that minute. You might think, "Oh, I'm so stupid," and not really intend it. And
Sure.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of self negativity that can get put onto people because they play into that without realizing what they're doing.
You don't want to
have
be.
a slight story with this too.
Yeah, go for it.
So before I started VTubing, before I started to heavily get into roleplay, years ago, I wasn't. It's gonna go really hard. My depression is more newer. I wasn't really a depressed person before, about 5 or 6 years ago. Before that, I was kind of happy. But then I met someone and I really wanted to get their attention. And I was stupid. Younger, I should say. And I noticed that they thought a lot of the self-deprecating jokes I would sometimes make, they would laugh at it. And I used that as a way to get closer to them, which was a bad idea for me. Because then I started to actually believe a lot of those jokes towards myself. And now I'm dealing with the repercussions years later where it'll be something small and, well, it shouldn't affect most people. Something small could set me off and I would have to step away.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can definitely see that where, something repeated like that can definitely eventually you'll like believe it and kind of internalize it, right?
Yeah. Which is why, like, even with this, if it's your own in-group, your own being in on the joke, sometimes you gotta stop and, just do the opposite and remind yourself, yes, it's just a joke. Yes, I'm not dumb. I am, maybe even talk yourself up some, because it does work in the opposite as well, People who are so full up of their own ass that they believe they are the hype is because they keep telling themselves that too. So
that's a bit of information. One of my friends who suffered from really bad depression, I told them a coping method that they could try. Mind you, I'm not a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
This is just what I told them to try it, and it worked for them. I said, every morning when you wake up, go to the bathroom, look at yourself in the mirror, and say one good thing about yourself, whether it's something that you look, or something you did the day before, something you're about to do. Something positive, and it helped them. It helped them through a lot of hardships in their life.
Good. I'm glad the advice you gave was helpful to them. And I definitely agree that as I said, I make self-deprecating humor towards myself, and my friends know that. But I have had it where in the past, like maybe my friend group will like joke about it a little too much, and I have had to set boundaries where I go, "Hey, it's getting to the point where it's kind of hurtful. Like I don't want to joke about that anymore." And so yeah, it's as you mentioned, it's important to evaluate that and make sure you're not putting yourself down too much, or else it will affect you and might,
like, you gotta figure out your
not
own
just be a
boundaries
joke.
for yourself. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
I did actually have a I feel stupid moment during this talk show.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
I was sitting here and you were talking about Liv, and middle of us having the conversation, my mind exploded, and I'm like, oh, Liv is just VIL backwards. That's where you got the name from.
That is. I like that I didn't even have to tell you though. I like that you figured that out. That's great.
I just kind of, caught that and was like, oh yeah, that's clever, and we just carry on and just, oh no.
My mind exploded. I'm like, I didn't notice that. I should have noticed that.
You're like, wait a second. How did I not see that sooner? No, I love that. That's hilarious. Yeah, you'd be surprised. I want you to know you're not the only one. I have had people,
Okay.
when I mention how that name came about, people are like, oh my God. Like, same exact reaction.
Oh
So,
no.
it's so
It
funny.
took them a few days ago. They found out. It took them a while to get. That's
Oh,
funny. That's really
no.
creative though. I like that.
Thank you. I like that. Well, because I'm lucky. I'm lucky that VIL, because as I said, when I made this account, like I really had no intention of. I didn't make VIL VTubers I love, knowing that I would call Liv her name.
Mhm.
So it just so happened that when I decided to call VIL the crab, I was like, well, what do I call my character, my branding, And I'm like, oh, well, VIL backwards is Liv, and Liv is a woman's name, so yeah, I guess I'll just call her Liv. Like,
I now want someone to take the Adventure Time theme song and do it with Vil and Liv, with Vil the crab and Liv the human.
yeah. No, it's funny. You are not the first person to make
Oh
that
wow.
joke. Although you are, I think, the second person to make that joke, because I heard that for
That's
the
great.
first. I heard that for the first time a day or two ago, and the fact that you just made that joke again is honestly hilarious.
Starting the
It's the
rollout.
fun will never end. It's steppy time.
Oh
Yay!
no.
I'm okay with that.
Fair enough, fair enough. Jeez.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that.
I don't even know the show all that well. I just hear the first few lines of the song play in my head anyways. That's how all everywhere that is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right, on to the next question before we have some free space to open up the questions to everybody. Looking back your time with content creation and everything we've discussed so far,
Yep.
is there anything you'd change, be it something that was in your control or out of your control? Something you wish you could just change for the time you've been making clips and streaming?
This is going to sound like a cop out, but I hope it's a good answer. I wish I started sooner. Um, because I really feel like I've made an amazing amount of growth since
Mm-hmm.
starting. I mean, I only started in October of last year. So we're coming up on a year in just a few months. But in less than a year, I mean, the fact that I've grown a YouTube channel to have over 22,000 subscribers. I mean, a lot of channels like are still struggling to even hit 1,000 after a year. So, I'm really thankful for how far I've come. But the thing that kind of like is crazy to me is I think to myself, what if I started a year ago? Right? Like where would I be now? And same thing with streaming is like I only started streaming a few months ago. Well, what if I had started streaming sooner? Would I be even further and would I have accomplished even more? And also I'm
Mm-hmm.
a bit older. I don't really mind talking about this, but I'm almost 30. And so the
Yeet.
fact that I'm not old, but I think that with the VTuber community generally trending on like the early 20s side, I definitely feel like I'm a bit on the older side of the community. And so to me, I always think of like, well, what if I had started, earlier? Obviously, VTubing really didn't hit its stride until the past maybe like I don't know 3 to 5 years or so. I don't know exactly. So I couldn't have started that much sooner. But I mean, really, if I've accomplished this much in less than a year, what if I had an extra year or 2 years or whatever?
Right.
So yeah, like I really don't have that much I regret or anything that I like really want to change. But like with how happy I am with how things have been, I kind of wish I'd even have more time under my belt. Or like, when VTubing first was really exploding back when like just being a VTuber at all really got you a
Mm-hmm.
lot of attention. Now that the space is so saturated, it's like, well, what if I had been one of those early adopters, right, and gotten in earlier? That's just kind of like a lot of the what ifs I think about, and I don't dwell on it because there's no point in it, and there's nothing like that you can really do about
Yeah,
it.
but it is one
But
of those thoughts that comes up, right?
yeah, and if anything, it makes me want to work harder, right, to make up for that time.
Mm.
I have a similar situation. My friend who got me into VTubing had been trying to get me into VTubing for a very long time.
Yeah.
4 years since almost since it started.
Wow. Yeah.
Jeez.
They've been wanting me to get into it because I've had this character I've had Sanus for 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
That's
and
great.
I've put a lot of work into her design and personality and all of that. And if I had started back then, things might be different. But at the same time, I'm glad that I started when I did. Because things would have been different. I might not be sitting here with the both of you. I might not have met the friends that I've met.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm glad where I'm at now. It's a slow crawl, but it is a enjoyable slow crawl.
Well, that's
Yeah.
great, and I'm happy that I've had the opportunity to meet you, both of you.
And I'm happy
Yes.
that you've popped on the show and I got to meet everybody here as well.
As
Yeah, thank you.
you knew this, but I'm very nervous about this. This is my first co-host
Mm-hmm.
and my first time speaking with you, and this has been a very enjoyable time. I'm really having fun time talking and getting to know you through this experience.
Oh, that's wonderful. I appreciate that. I'm really happy to hear that. And um, the funny thing actually, so I had no idea this was your first co-host. So you
Mm-hmm.
could have fooled you could have fooled me.
Yeah.
um, and another funny thing, this is random, but I almost just got your names mixed up because
Oh,
I don't know why in my head,
Sasa.
Sanus and Saru just both kind
Mm-hmm.
of have the sa in
We
them.
got the Sa start, yeah.
Exactly. And so, yeah, that's very funny. But no, it's been great getting to know you both, Sanus and Saru. Thank you for having me on. It's been fun, and I'm glad that we have a lot of things that we can relate to or talk about.
Although, if Sanus, if you thought you were feeling a little bit under pressure before, wait till you hear what the next category is, right?
Hey.
Oh boy.
You remember this as well, Sanus, because you did get interviewed earlier, but at this point, I would like to open up the floor to questions, either Sanus asking questions. VIL, if you have any questions or topic you'd like to just passionately talk about for a bit, open floor. As well as anybody in chat, I will be paying almost exclusive attention to chat, pulling questions from there, or bantering with the questions others are presenting for this segment. So, if you have a question, that's anybody who can hear this right now. Go ahead and ask.
I have a question from June, actually,
Ooh.
from earlier.
Yes.
June the kitty has asked, what other animal would you have picked if it wasn't a crab?
Oh, I did see that question earlier while we were talking. Okay, yeah, thank you. That's a very good question, because the only thing I know for sure is that whatever animal I picked, I wanted it to be a small animal. Because obviously, since I'm into size difference, I would always want to choose something that's on the smaller side. I don't know. Like, I really, it's hard for me to choose because I haven't thought of this, and I've become so attached to the crab. You know, I could choose a cop out answer and say lobster, because they are technically different. But no, I don't know. I feel like I would choose. Part of me thinks I would choose an insect of some sort because those tend to be, on the smaller side. But on the other hand, I feel like they might be too tiny. Like, I would have to make a bigger chibi version of an insect, because obviously if you choose an actual insect, size comparatively, you wouldn't even be able to really see them as on a VTuber model.
Yeah.
You could pick
So
praying mantis. They're pretty big.
I have thought of that. Though it's funny that one did come to mind. So praying mantises are pretty cool. So would consider that. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, probably some sort of insect or something like that.
And we got June chiming in with you'd get one toe steppies instead of full foot steppies then, huh?
Well, you know what? No matter what I was, even if I was an insect, I like the idea of being durable. So you know what? Like, it wouldn't matter. Toe steppy, foot steppy, whatever. I'll take it all.
That makes sense. And honestly, that logic is kind of the same as why I was originally mouse. Because I was originally wee teeny tiny mouse. And then I discovered I crave power.
I, Mother, I crave violence.
I crave violence.
That's great.
Down,
I love
Saru,
that.
calm down.
Yeah, alright. I'll calm down with the question
Put the
from
moon
chat
back.
then.
Put it back where you got it.
I
Go
can't
on.
put the bite back. So, a question from Fairy Dooney in chat. So I know VIL enjoys size difference and prefers to be on the smaller scale. How small does VIL like to be in size scenarios?
It really depends because it could be anywhere from like, let's say 1 inch to like 6 inches or something like that. So as long as I'm basically like, I usually prefer if I am on the smaller side of like, I mean, again, there's a reason why I said I would choose an insect, as another animal. If I'm like more bug size compared to other people, that's kind of my ideal size because I like that that's big enough to be interacted with, um, and potentially noticed, but small enough to really get that sense of scale of like, oh, you are very, very tiny. Um, and I enjoy that because I know that there's a lot of people who enjoy micro size. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not personally an interest of mine just because at that point I feel like you're too tiny to like not only be noticed but also be interacted with in any meaningful way.
Yeah, yeah. So it sounds like we got pretty close to that size then with the set, you being on a shoulder next to, everybody else.
No, yeah, this is a perfect size. I'm okay with this. I like this.
Good, good, good. Alright, I'll go back to skimming chat for questions. So, Sanisville, anything crosses your mind?
I don't have a question, but I do want to bring up how, when you got into VTubing, before you were into the spy stuff,
Yeah.
and I think it's interesting how you being part of that size group, and then one of the first VTubers outside of like the major big ones for the independents, you found Vexora, who is also part of that the size community and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was very interesting. The funny thing is that you would think that I logically, you would think that because I came from the size community before, you would think that I found Vex from there, and that's kind of what got me in VTubing. No, I actually just happened while after I had already started my clipping and my Twitter account for my clipping channel. I just happened someone I followed just happened to share Vexoria, and her debut was coming up. So I had started clipping the same month her debut
Oh,
happened.
wow.
Oh wow!
So it was really just a perfect convergence of like, yep,
Fate.
like fate. Yeah, it really does feel like fate. And so I'm really happy that it happened the way it did. So you're completely right. It's really funny how that happened.
That is, yeah, as Dooney said, crazy coincidence.
Yeah.
Yep. If you don't mind me asking the two
Oh.
of you questions,
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead.
because I've talked a little bit about
Mhm.
size stuff myself. What are I don't know, one or two things that each of you enjoys about size difference, and kind of, I mean, obviously you enjoyed enough to kind of make it your either identity as a VTuber or your gimmick. So I'm curious to hear what you both enjoy.
All right. Well,
I'll let Saru go first.
all right. So, basically, whenever I have to explain this to people, I go with the term size fascination because I could literally just see a huge tree in the middle of nowhere, sequoia redwood type thing, and stare at it and gawk for, an hour because it's so big. It's pretty. So it really is just like ingrained into me. Every inch is like, this side stuff is pretty cool. I like every aspect of it. Although I say every aspect of it, that's not quite accurate. Some of the more out there stuff I probably won't go for. But I do snack on people, so I can't say, I'm not one of the most out there. I think a lot of my early interaction with that content, though, was just as an observer watching a few names of, particular artists. Carbo, we got Heretic, Tess Solar, or Hank88, a few people over on DeviantArt side where it's like, yeah, I enjoy your art. Thank you. Me happy.
I'm definitely aware of Carbo. That name
yeah,
definitely stuck out.
absolutely. I believe, heck, even Dooney in chat, Carbo got brought up in conversation because of a similar question, where it's like, yes, they draw big ladies, they go munch. Good.
Very good, yeah.
Very good.
Sanus, what about you?
My situation is a little funny. It's going to go into a little bit of a story.
That's okay.
Created this character, Sanus, years ago, and roleplay, and I wasn't originally into, I wasn't into the size stuff. Not that I was against it. I'm not against, I didn't care much for it. I never really thought about it. And it was, I'm a kaiju, so while role-playing, the character did originally have the size difference a lot of times. And from there, I started doing more art stuff. But the role-play group I was in was very judgmental, especially with size stuff. And I stepped away from it because of how judgy it was. When I came into the VTubing area, though, I decided, I am a kaiju. I'm going to base the stuff off of her size, all of that. I'm going to bring that in. And when I do art, I want to get some perspectives and stuff like that and shots. So I started to do I went to the different websites that might have pictures. Pixiv has a lot of it. Twitter, DeviantArt, just to get perspective shots and stuff like that. And that's kind of where I started to pick up more on it. And I basically have developed it in more recent times due to my interest into making art that goes for my character. I've seen, I've actually, Dooney in chat is really funny. I've seen her character design before I actually met her.
Yep.
There's an artist named, I can't remember the full name, but Jenny. I think it's Jenny Secret.
There's various titles that Jenny has. Jenny Secret, Jenny the Huge.
Yeah. I've seen her art of Dooney specifically on these websites while I was trying to get a nice reference for, when I do my 3D stuff with Koikatsu to get a nice shot of what it would look like. And it was through Saru. He had contacted me one day, and through him, I met Dooney through, I think it was on Twitch or not Twitch, on Twitter. We were just having a conversation about stuff, or you shared something of mine, or I shared something of yours. And that's how Dooney met with me. And from Dooney, I met with Jenny. So a lot of these artists and stuff that I've seen their work from before I've interacted with because I've gotten into this kink of sorts. And it all started with, I want to make a roleplay character. This is what she can do. And I want to make sure her art and stuff is accurate and looks nice through perspective and getting different stuff.
That's really funny how that all started, because yeah, it sounds like obviously like you weren't even into the kink at first, but then you just kind of learned more about it over time, and yeah, no, I love that. That's awesome. I'm
And
happy that you
to add
were
on a
able to.
little to that
Hmm.
story, so because you decided, double down on the in character stuff and play into the side stuff, even though you were a little bit discouraged from it, one of my friends actually deliberately just added me on one of your posts with just, eyes emoji. Hey, look at this.
That's what it was, yeah.
Yeah, so my one of my mouse friends, who's small 6-inch tall mouse, she can sit on a flower and hang out sometimes on sunflowers. She spots, Kaiju Gal in the distance, turns to me and just points, and then I just run off to go say hi.
Yep. um, it's funny, Ness in chat says toast, and there's a running gag with that with my character and hers, and that is, being a kaiju, one of Sanus's things is she has basically an inner nuclear reactor. She produces her own radiation and she cycles it through her body to make sure other people around her don't get harmed.
Yeah.
Her body gets hotter because of that. And I'm gonna switch my model really fast to the normal outfit of hers, which I'm sure you've seen before.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This
Yep.
one, and I was talking to my older sibling about her design, and
Oh, I love that. Yep.
one of Sanus's things is she doesn't have a lot of confidence in herself. And my older sibling's like, what do you mean she doesn't have confidence in herself? Why does she, she clearly has to have some sort of confidence because she wears an open sweater like that.
Yeah.
I said, no, she doesn't wear that because of her confidence. She wears that because it's a vent. It helps cool her body down.
Yep.
And then the idea of her putting, in the roleplay area that I was at, Sanus' sister Manny, her relationship, her husband is really big into food. He loves food. And one of the things she did was she cooked bacon on herself because she can. Her body gets hot enough. So that got into me coming into VTuber, where the idea of, oh, if you put a piece of bread between my booba, my body gets hot enough and it'll pop out like toast. So,
that's amazing.
One of my previous outfits, I need to update it still. I had it's her. She has the Sanus logo on her chest, and it's open and all of that. And on her sleeves is Tolkien Elven, and it says toaster on it.
That's awesome. I love that so much.
I very much enjoy going around and taking these experiences that I've done with my characters in roleplay and somehow incorporating it into my VTuber stuff.
That's a great story. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, and
Free
Ness
snacks
there.
too.
Yep. Ness capitalizing on the toast.
Like who doesn't like free snacks? Actually,
Yeah.
I know. I was just gonna say I'll have to make sure I stay away from.
Just don't fall in. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
I do have the climb redeem over on my channel, and that is probably the most picked spot. I honestly attribute it to how warm it gets. It's kind of like being in a snuggie of sorts.
I'm sure. Yeah. Of course.
Yes.
That's what it is. Nothing else. Right?
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
I can think of 2 other reasons, but I don't think I should say that out loud, huh?
Yeah. Ness got exactly what I was talking
Steamed
about.
crab.
Steamed crab. See, then the real hard one will be making sure Ness doesn't come around to eat you. I hear people really like crab rangoon.
That is true. I'll have to be careful, I guess.
Yeah.
one of my favorite stories of between Sanus and Ness is Sanus. She does the toast. She doesn't really like doing the toast thing. It makes her feel a little weird. However, she does it because it keeps Ness from going around and destroying everything because she's at least getting something to eat.
Boob toast bribery.
Now, the scary part is if someone redeems a climb redeem and Ness is around and she goes, I really want crumbs. And she decides to go for the crumbs that might be in there.
Oh no. Ness being a menace, huh?
Ness.
Oh my, Ness.
Ay.
Ness the Menace, I like how that sounds.
Yeah, a lot of story going on there and a lot of history to, even some of the smallest jokes going on, huh?
Oh yeah.
And I appreciate that. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about VTubers is everyone has their own in-jokes or their own lore and storylines and role-playing stuff, and yeah, it's always fun to see jokes like that come up.
I like with my interview from Saru. Afterwards, we did this whole we were in space thing, and we got a picture of Sanus kissing the planet, and that made a joke afterwards that, oh no, Sanus kissed the planet. Now she has a bunch of people stuck to her lips, so we have to wait to get these people off safely.
We gotta send a rescue mission up to,
Oh my
Planet
God.
Sanus.
That's awesome. I love that. Listen, completely worth.
We've Saru and I, our interactions is a lot of it is Saru, stop destroying plants, stop eating people, put them down. I know you want to, but we need
they're tasty.
the earth.
Okay, Sanus. All right, I hear you. But now you've stuffed the earth in your booba while you're out in space for a minute, and
because I'm keeping it warm and safe from people like you who want to eat it.
We have plenty of global warming already, Sanus. Be careful.
Global warming might be my fault. I'm
the ice caps suddenly just start melting. Listen, I don't like climate change and everything that's happening, but if it was because of booba, I mean, I think a lot less people would be complaining.
Right. Oh no. Oh jeez. Another thing that's just a stray detail briefly is the necklace wasn't originally going to, contain a plot item or MacGuffin type stuff. That's the reason why I'm big. It really was just an excuse to have a little bag available that if somebody's tiny, I can pick them up and drop it in. So,
Cute. I like that.
It's convenient,
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, next time we deal with a heat wave, I think I know who to blame.
Absolutely, yo.
I wonder who it could be. What? No, not me.
What? I don't know.
No.
Listen, you've heard the old myth.
I did not cause all those fires in the UK, I swear. That was not
the old myth that summer's caused because the Earth is closer to the sun. No. Summer's caused because the Earth is closer to Booba.
To the sand.
To the sand. We're one letter off, huh? The U was misplaced.
Yeah, that's what it is. We don't talk about my greenhouse gases, guys.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, my.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting that one to come out of someone's mouth yet. Oh, jeez. Alright, let me double check and skim chat to see if any questions have popped up during that conversation. If there's anything else either of you have on the mind, feel free to carry on. Otherwise, I do have more questions to continue on.
I want to flip the question back on you, Vil.
Sure.
The one you asked Saru and I want to know when you got into the size stuff, if you have any stories or what you were like. I know you said what you like terms of how you prefer your size. But what makes you interested in size difference and stuff like that?
So for me, the funny thing is, you know, fortunately or unfortunately, mine is not quite as innocent as yours. Like yours was wonderful because you were like, "Oh, I just happened to like being big and like the kaiju," and now I found out about the size community. No, I was always kind of into that stuff when I was younger, but I didn't realize that it was like a kink thing. I just thought like, "Oh yes, like."
Mm-hmm.
The idea of being tiny is cool and fun and that kind of thing. And then as you get older and you hit puberty and you realize stuff about yourself, you're like, oh no, this is a kink thing. um and no, I just found out about like different like for example, I liked feet was something that I enjoyed, and then I realized that there was a kink for
Mm-hmm.
well, imagine getting stepped on, but giant steppies, like
Ah.
so it's like wait, so I like this thing, but now there's more of it. You know what I mean? Like
Right. Right.
bigger's better, that kind of thing. I was like, okay, I can see this. And then I actually used to think that vor was gross. I didn't like it. I didn't understand the appeal of it.
Mm-hmm.
But then the more, just by being in the size community, you get exposed to other things, right? You get exposed to other people's interests and things they enjoy. And sometimes, you don't understand it, and sometimes you might get a small appreciation for it. But then I was exposed to it so much that I really started to like understand why people liked it, and it went from something I wasn't interested in into being, oh no, now I just have this kink. Like now I'm also into it. Um, and yeah, so that's kind of where it all started. And I've always just enjoyed that sort of content, and so it's like I mentioned before, what like I used to be really closeted about this stuff because I thought that it was uh just I thought having any kind of kink that was outside of vanilla, was
Yeah.
just not like morally wrong, but like socially wrong. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
people can talk about how much they like, boobs and butt all they want all day. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, as soon as you mention liking something slightly out of the norm, you kind of might get a weird look or like something like that. And so I wanted to avoid that, so I really just kept to myself about it. But as I got older, I realized I'm like, oh no, like it's okay to be into these things, and there's nothing wrong with it, and people should be okay with being open about it. So that's kind of what drove me to being very openly kink positive and being able to talk about my interests, because I figure if people see me talking about what I like about size difference, then hopefully other people will feel
Mm-hmm.
comfortable about it as well.
And I emphasize with a lot of what was said there because, well, first to go along with it, it's like, yeah, early media, early just exposure to things. I really liked books like The Borrowers, tiny
Yeah,
people living
same.
in your
Yes.
walls, right? And there
Yep.
was a lot of, cartoon shows that feature little itty bitty mouse running around a full size world being the hero.
Yep. Did you ever see or read the Indian in the Cupboard?
I have seen that. I don't think I read
Yeah.
it, but I've definitely seen it, and
Oh,
it's
I've
like,
seen that. Yeah.
oh
I,
yeah,
I've done both, and yep, that was
yeah.
one that I definitely remember.
I didn't even recall that, and now that you mention it, the only scene I recall is somebody opening up the cupboard and the obvious size difference moment.
Yep.
Hey,
I, as a child, actually was afraid of it with
oh
size
no.
difference originally. There was a movie. I was at my dad's house, and he was watching this movie. It was like a detective movie,
Mhm.
and it had magic in it. Like the world could use magic and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And the detective, he was trying to solve a murder, and the murder was this man was inside his room with his dog, and he started to someone used magic on him, and he started to shrink, and his dog went over and basically tore his body up
Oh no.
because oh, small creature, I'm a big dog, let's
Yeah.
play.
Oh
Oh my
Um,
god.
no.
and that got me. The Honey I Shrunk the Kids movie freaked me out. And I size stuff was definitely a fear of mine originally.
That's understandable. I mean, that
I
would
can
scare
see
me
that.
too.
It's also easy
Yeah.
visual shorthand, especially in media, to be like big thing scary, small thing harmless, right?
Yeah.
Um,
And again, I, when you go into high school, you were talking about kinks and all of this. High school is not a place for kinks. You don't talk about that stuff when you're
Uh-huh.
there. But like everyone talks about, oh, we slept with this person and stuff like that. Uh,
Or my
so
school,
you hear more about
maid outfits.
vanilla. Yeah. Oh gosh. And then out of high school, I sex is a weird thing. I'm
mhm.
not sure if I actually like it in itself. It actually freaks me out a little.
Oh no.
Sure.
The idea
Yeah.
of another person being inside of you
Yeah.
in that way.
Yeah.
And that's also probably why I'm not in the vor is kind of the same situation.
No,
It
no, munchy.
squeaks me out a little bit of that idea.
Also
Yeah.
fair.
And then again, I had started that path while in the roleplay server, but I was kind of attacked for starting that path by other people who do not like it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I stepped back from that, and then because of the positivity that of people around me in the VTuber community, it helped me come into the idea of it. The thought of shrinking in real life is still absolutely terrifying to me.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's very funny. I see Ness spamming the ace flag, and yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you literally just said that in front of an ace person, and I'm just like, yes, yes, I understand. Like that's So you are not alone in your experience, and uh,
I it's I enjoy the concept of a relationship, being in the relationship and the companionship you feel for
of
another person.
course. Hmm.
Um, but when the few partners that I have been with in that way have not been the best people.
Uh,
I'm sorry you've had to deal with that. Yeah, but I think a lot of people just don't know how to quote unquote deal with ace people or how to interact or have relationships with them because for a lot of people sex is so ingrained into romance when a lot of ace people enjoy the romance but don't necessarily want the sex or are okay with it. um so for example, me personally, and again, this is not for everybody, but this is just
mm-hmm.
where I am on the ace spectrum. I am okay with sex, but I don't get any enjoyment from it. So I would do it for the sake of a partner to make them happy, but it's not something that I look for personally. Um, so that's something that's hard to navigate because there are some people who, when they want to do that with their partner, understandably, they want everyone to enjoy the experience. For
Mm-hmm.
me, it would be more something where, like, I would do it for their sake, but then I would want to do other things in order to get my own enjoyment. You know what I mean? Like,
So,
it,
because it
you
got
kind
come
of
up
have
in
to.
chat real quick,
Sure.
I am a very sheltered mouse. What is ace?
If you don't mind me saying, ACE stands for asexual. And all that means is that you don't have. Well, I mean, it's a spectrum, but in
Mhm.
general, it's just someone who doesn't want to have sex. So you get no pleasure from sex, and there are people who are sex repulsed, meaning they never ever want to do it. And then I don't really know what you would call the other side of that spectrum, but like me, you have people who are okay with it, but maybe just not interested in it. Um, so yeah, that's what it's called.
Yep, there you go,
It's
Reed.
it's
And
funny. Because the more I think about the things and stuff about
yeah,
it, I feel like I'm more like my father in that way, which is you would not really think about that. But one of the reasons why my mom and my dad got a divorce years ago was he didn't have sex with my mom.
hmm
Hmm.
Not that he wasn't attracted to her or anything. He wanted to be in the basement and play guitar. That's what he liked to do.
I mean, understandable.
Yeah, yeah.
He smoked pot and played music, and then he went to his day job as a college professor right afterwards.
Oh, right after the pot and music? Wait.
That is kind of funny.
Just so you know, for those in college, your college professors probably party as much as you do.
You never know.
You never
My
know.
dad was in his 40s and he was like that.
That's great. But yeah, so I mean, it's and being someone who is a kinky asexual, I always get a lot of questions, just because people think that because you're kinky, you have to, you like you can't be ace, right? Like that doesn't make any sense. But just because I'm kinky doesn't mean that I you know, engage with or am interested in sex. Those are two completely different things. But a lot of people, I think, equate the two things.
Yeah, a lot of people do seem to. A lot of people have trouble breaking up, components and actually factoring out a lot of stuff. Though, I understand their perspective a little bit because I have no clue where I would, land on the topic of, sexual activeness and romance and all that because despite being, in the Twitter elderly VTuber club, I've
hmm
like zero relationships, period. And it's like, okay, well, the idea sounds nice. I have
That
no
doesn't
clue.
make any sense to me whatsoever, Saru. Because you are a very interesting to talk to person.
Oh
You
no.
are funny, and you're
Aw,
actually an attractive person.
Ah.
a
So
You
I'm
did your
gonna I'm
face
gonna put the
reveal.
cards on the table for that. Up through high school, up until literally senior year, I had never had a crush on anybody. So
Okay.
that combined with having anime protagonist level density, where a girl straight up threatened to kiss me and I didn't catch on at that point, high school was a wash for me. And
I can see how that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
and then I go to college for aerospace engineering. The campus gender ratio is 10-1. Guess which gender?
Obviously, women, right?
On the one
I
side,
again like
yes, the 10 men to
to
that.
to point out really fast that Saru is a space engineer. He can legally say this is not rocket science, guys.
And I know
Eh,
rocket science. I...
I love that. That's
so,
so good.
so
Well,
even if I got the good factors, it's no opportunities popping up, basically.
listen, ladies, if you're looking to date a rocket scientist, you've got one right here.
He's smart.
Ah. All right, well, don't mind me. I'm
That's
just gonna go blush off camera real quick. Just
Good, good. Take it.
say
ah.
one thing that I've always been keen on when it comes to relationships has been if I can find someone visually appealing.
Mm-hmm.
You can be in my eyes the prettiest person in the entire world. But if you have the personality of a dead goldfish, there's definitely nothing I will be able to feel for you in that kind of regard.
I mean, that makes
I
complete
have to
sense.
be attracted to you mentally before I can be attracted to you
Mm-hmm.
physically.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, you don't want to date a plank of wood, you know.
Yeah.
That might be a big factor of it, actually, now that I think, because one of the few people I had a crush on, we were working in a science, physics type of, oh, hey, here's a nerd competition type of thing for high schoolers. It's like, oh, yes, she's doing the math with me. Oh.
My
That's
older
great.
sibling and her spouse, they are probably actually the perfect couple
Huh.
when it comes to um they are both very big nerds, and while they might bicker in terms of their intelligence off of each other, they don't do it in, to make each other feel dumber, and they're not doing it out of anger, like actual anger, hate between each other. It's more of like they're debating, which is
Oh,
really
that's
cool to me.
great. Yeah, I like that.
Um, their entire relationship is like a Disney, uh, like a Disney love cartoon
Wow,
like thing.
that's cute.
They met each other. Um, she went to a friend of hers to play D&D, and friend was friends with him. They were upstairs hanging out and stuff like that. And when she got there, uh, he walked downstairs and saw her, and he said that in he felt that the entire world slowed down as he saw her. He had instantly fell in love with her.
Oh my god, that's
Oh,
too cute.
jeez.
They used to go to the library for dates and stuff like that. And it's honestly like the cutest thing in terms of relationships I've ever actually seen.
Wow, that is cute. That's great. I love
Yeah,
that.
that sounds amazing, huh?
And now they have a
Ay,
kid.
hey.
He's also a really cute little guy with he's very large. He's got
Large.
he's got really large legs.
Wow.
Hey.
I, I've had a fair amount of relationship experience, but throughout whether that's high school, college, and afterward. But
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really had anything that has stuck super long term. And so honestly, recently I've just kind of stuck to bettering myself and working on stuff that I'm doing because I've with all the like content with me delving into online content creation, I really haven't even had time for anything else. And
Oh, I feel that.
yeah, and so before I really look into getting into a um you know long time relationship, something serious, especially because now that I'm getting older, I'm really looking for someone who like something serious. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like someone who has all the same values as me and would want to do the same things as me as far as like starting a family and that kind of stuff. Um, I'm not really looking to just get in a relationship for the sake of it. Um, and so until, the time is right, I'm kind of happy just working on myself and working on, my content creation and hopefully that takes off and hopefully, I'll be in a good place in the future. But I think it's valid to take time for yourself and work on yourself before you dedicate yourself to another person, right?
Hmm. I feel that. I At that point in my life, I'm also an older content creator. I'm going to be 28 this year, and my family has been, I've always wanted to be a parent. I've always wanted to be a mother, and my family they're starting to pressure me more and more to
Yeah.
go out and date and meet people, and I'm I have told myself and I've told them I'm not going to get into a relationship at this moment because I'm not prepared. I'm not ready for myself. Maybe in the future when I feel more at sound with
Yeah.
what I'm doing and, monetarily, I feel good, but I'm not just going to go out of my way to get into a relationship. It's especially where I live. There's not a lot of people that are good people.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm not gonna say where I live so I don't
Yep.
get
Yep.
doxxed, but I live close enough to Kentucky that it's basically Kentucky.
Yeah, I can
I
already
don't
kind
live
of see
in
where you're going
Kentucky.
with that.
I didn't realize
Yeah.
Kentucky was in another world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thought processes. It's where they had to put myself when I came to Earth. They were like,
You
all
know,
right, go to
fair,
Kentucky.
fair.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't care if you step on a few buildings over there.
No big deal. No,
Ugh.
that's an understandable situation. So you wanna date someone that you know could see yourself with. You don't want to necessarily have to settle for um just what's around you, right? Especially if you don't like
Yeah.
what's around you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Again, personality is the biggest part of a relationship to me.
Although,
Like
Yep.
chipping in on
conversation, yeah.
personality and what's around you, we do have an odd chat question as well.
I saw that. I wanted to
Yeah,
answer that.
so, since people are talking about personality and stuff, I have an odd question from Reed the Small Mouse. Would you date a gender-bent clone of you?
Yes.
I I'm going to take this question from Sanus instead of my real life self.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If so, I have a general idea and thought. I posted like a one of those pic crews what
Mm-hmm.
Santa's would look like as a male, and yes, definitely. I think look wise. However, at the same time, no. Again, I'll answer it two ways. My real self, probably yes. My Sanus, no, because Sanus looks like her male self looks like her uncle, like a spitting image of her uncle, which he's a I guess you would put it as a femboy look. Is probably a good idea. I'll post the picture in the group chat we are in,
Sure.
and you two
Alright.
will see what I base it off of. Let's see if I can find.
I suppose for myself, while Sanus is looking unless... Oh, I already found it. There you go. I will try to bring this up on screen as well for a moment.
Mind you, this is not one of my arts.
Mm-hmm.
This is someone I found online that I used as a base for her uncle. So I don't. Just so we're not taking credit for this art. None of us here did it.
To pop this up on screen. This would be roughly what you're talking about then.
Yes, this is what a male Sanus would look like.
I could definitely see what you're getting at with the more femme-leaning look for the comments.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Mm-hmm. And
Long green
away.
hair,
Oof.
kind of a smaller built, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. That
I
makes
approve.
sense. And you got Dooney stuttering in chat.
For me, I once had one of my artist friends. She decided to draw a bunch of our friends gender bent, and
Mm-hmm.
she drew me, and I saw it, and I was like, "Wow, I'm hot." I was like, yes," because apparently I really like how I look with really really long hair. So
I wouldn't want to interact with it. My real self, I'm kind of in the same line as Dooney. I don't like my real self. I do not like myself in real life whatsoever. I do not find positive traits to who I am in real life. I put the positivity of what I should have probably on Sanus more than I do on myself, where I
mm,
sit there and think, I wish I was more like her. I wish I could look more like her, and I wish I could just have her reactions, stuff like that.
And I agree
I'm
with Ness in chat here real quick.
yeah,
Sanus, this is why we gotta beat you up with love sometimes and go,
exactly.
burrow into that brain and go, okay, Sanus is adorable, but behind Sanus, who's
You
the embodiment of
exactly.
everything, you deserve all the, good praise. Don't make us go over there and, I have no clue what to follow this up with. Just affection.
I was gonna say I don't know
Ness.
if you know this, Sanus, but you are Sanus. We like you. So I'm sorry you feel that way because I know that you're definitely not alone. And obviously there are times where I don't
hmm
like everything about myself either. But what we do know of you, I know that we like you. So I hope you
Oh, you
take that to heart.
guys. Too
You
much for
deserve
me.
just as much love as you're trying to put into Sanus and, the outward presentation for everybody. Okay?
Exactly.
Heck, you might deserve even more. We got plenty of people here. That's plenty of love to share.
Ness is the only person who's ever seen a picture of what I look like in real life,
Oh.
and Ness has also threatened me because of how not positive I am towards myself.
Ay, ay, ay.
Good, good. I
Good work,
approve of this,
Ness.
Ness.
Keep it up. Keep it up, Ness. We gotta be the positivity brigade and, really getting into Sanus's brain. Ay, ay, ay. And I suppose I'm the only one who's avoided answering so far, huh?
Yep.
I got no clue. Honestly, I got no clue. Because I can't stand myself a lot of the times. And if I can't stand me, can another me stand me? Can I stand another me? Like, okay, lady me probably going to be pretty attractive, I imagine. And, we look at Saru Dasachi, catgirl form. Yeah. And, physically, all is fine, attraction, all that. But could I survive being in a room with myself, but I can talk to myself out loud? I'm not sure
I
about
think you
that
would be
one.
interesting. I think you two having a clone of yourself in a room with you would be an interesting one because uh, you would both have your intelligence and also your likes. So I guess a good thing that should be said, and I say this to everyone and I need to say this more to myself too, but to people who do not like how they look, you should remember that you are not your own type. Most
Yeah.
people would not look at I'm saying most overall,
Mm.
but most people would not look at themselves in the mirror and go, "Man, I'm very, very attractive." Most of the time, they'll nitpick at something or they'll think badly of themselves. Well, you are attractive to someone else. Someone in the world would look at you and they would do the same thing that my brother-in-law had. They would see the world in slow motion at first sight.
Oh,
Oh. Yeah.
that is very true.
Yeah, I think my answer still has to, lean towards, could I survive being in a room with myself? Yeah, because if I could, and if if I can, survive a conversation with me where I talk back and it's not just an echo chamber, and I really hope it doesn't become an echo chamber, because then you have two people depressing each other. That'd be no good. Maybe.
I will be
Oh,
right back.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
In
no
that
problem.
I
case,
just have to use the restroom. Shouldn't take long.
oh, take your
Okie
time.
doke.
Well, in that case, yeah, I don't listen. I don't understand a lot of the times when people do throw out the compliments sometimes, because you know how it is with some people where it's like, I'm the person I like the least, the derp, and then the big
Yep.
thumbs up. It's like, I physically, I think it'll be fine. Mentally, I have no basis. I don't even, I don't even have a point of comparison. After all, I had a little bit of anime protagonist syndrome earlier, where it's like, oh yeah, you always wonder why the harem protagonist doesn't realize, people are crushing on them when they're straight up, smooching on the face, and then you pop over to like real life, me just being there like, oh, that's a joke from the friend, haha. I'm going to continue eating my popcorn and hide.
Yep.
Geez. Well, that was actually a pretty good question from chat out of the blue, huh?
Yeah, no, it was.
Let's see, any other thoughts off the top of your head to dig in about? Because I think there's a couple of questions from a regular who is not here at the moment that I can ask to fill some time as well. So...
Sure, yeah, go for it.
These questions are a lot more tongue-in-cheek. They're a lot less
I'm
serious. Back. Oh, Sanus is returning. There we go. So, one question from a regular to the stream and to the interviews. They try to ask this every interview. If you could appoint a president of the internet, who would it be? Who would you give full control of the internet to?
Full control of the internet.
Right.
Who would I want to give full control of the internet to?
I've had quite a variety of answers to this one, so I'm curious.
Ooh, I'm thinking.
Thinking. Should I put on like the Jeopardy music?
I'm not gonna lie. An answer I was thinking of is just me. It's like, yes, give me the power. I have no good reason for giving me power. Just give it.
That's actually a lot more common of an answer than you might think. Quite a few people have gone, give me the power. Let me go mad with it. So... I would accept that unless you're gonna be like, no.
No, I do want to come up with an actual answer. Okay. There's...
Yeah? I hear the gears turning quite a bit.
I know. Well, because there's at least two that I've thought of. One I'm trying to get back to. I'm trying to remember what I just thought of. This is like, I'm not picking the people that are coming to mind are not like good answers. It's like answers that I want to see what they would do with it, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like, this is so random, but I hope someone knows who I'm talking about. Do either of you know who Arlo is?
That is a name that is ingrained in my brain, but I have no clue why.
So Arlo is like a blue puppet. It's like a Muppet, and he covers Nintendo products. And just the idea of that blue Muppet obsessed with Nintendo getting full control of the internet is just absolutely hilarious to me.
Dooney knows, apparently. Oh,
yeah.
So you are on the side of chaos here.
Yeah, like, I just want to give someone power and just see, like, for example, okay, I want to give Vexoria power. I want to see what she would do as queen of the internet.
Definitely a lot of good options for that, at least, huh?
I think that's like my final answer is Vexoria. Just give her ultimate power over the internet.
She would be interesting.
Right?
I feel like one of the first things she would do would be like force Twitch to change its stances on a lot of things.
Yeah, for sure. Also, she would force TikTok to unban her.
Is she permanently I didn't know that.
I don't know if she... Okay, so to be fair, I don't think she's permanently banned. It might just be shadow ban. But it's one of those things where it's like, you can tell, like, when you're being completely suppressed. And also, I know a lot of her TikToks get slapped because apparently having any sort of booba on TikTok is just a big no-no.
I'm so surprised I have not gotten banned on TikTok.
Right? Yeah.
There's the one video where it's just me standing in my swimsuit and I bounce forward a little bit and a plane blows up on my booba.
That's hilarious. Oh my god, I love that. Holy shit.
And then there's just the one where it was National Boob Day, and
Yeah.
it was just me moving back and forth and being a little bouncy, and I was like, this one's going to get me in trouble for sure. Nope.
No?
Nope. In fact, I
Oh.
got a lot more views.
That's
And
amazing.
I'm wondering if it's because I'm not using my VTuber model. I'm using my Koikatsu model.
Okay, so yeah, it could be that.
Like, I tagged myself as VTuber, but, my friend, she has been banned on TikTok at least 10 times in the last year. And she always gets unbanned, and she comes back, but she has a lot more likes and follows and stuff like that than I do. So she's probably more presented. So she probably gets the trolls who come in and go, I'm reporting this.
So my
Oh jeez,
thought,
yeah, that's not fun.
my thought is TikTok. A lot of it is I've seen some of the comments people wind up posting and being like, "This is the comment section for a regular TikTok." It seems a lot more lower common denominator there, lowest common denominator type of people just get on there for a quick, interaction, and then if people do drop the comments, they're usually going, "Oh no, you're like this person over there, or this negative comment, blah blah blah."
I absolutely love the stupid comments I get on TikTok. One of my favorite, and it's one of Nez's favorites. It's just a person came onto my video and goes, I like concrete, or I drink concrete.
What the heck?
I drink concrete, and it's
These are the
one of
people-
the funniest things.
These are the people that make the legendary Big Guy 2x4 on Twitch chat look like, a sane person.
I like concrete. Oh
drink
my
concrete.
god. That's
I drink concrete.
I drink concrete. That's amazing.
And I get a lot of like I go on TikTok and I live for the comments that I get. I get some people who are like, I wish TikTok would stop reminding me about how lonely I am in life. And they keep recommending me these videos. And
What the
then
heck?
I get silly ones like I drink concrete.
So-
Or there's one it's a video of Sanus in like a lake. And she takes her top off, but like nothing is shown. She's like it's pure, but she's just holding it up. And a person comments goes, "Get out of the way! I want to see the boats behind me," because I had a bunch of boats behind me.
Ay. So yeah, like I was saying with that lowest common denominator, interactions a lot of the time. I'm not sure any of them could honestly, tell there's a difference between Koikatsu models and VTuber models and anything like that.
That's true.
So
I've got one person who's like, "Oh, this is a Koikatsu model."
Same quantity
it
as
was
the
just
amount
the
of people who drink concrete, or more concrete
Yeah,
drinkers.
actually, fun fact: same quantity. Weird.
There you have it then.
The thing about TikTok, though, which is very bad, this is what my friend gets in trouble for, which is really, really dumb. They think all anime-styled characters, all VTubers, all their models are underage.
Oh my god.
So, Sanus, I've had someone comment people will go, I love her, I want to wife her and stuff, and then someone would respond with, I hear police siren, she's underage, and I'm like, no, Sanus is canonically 38.
Yeah.
She is not underage, I'm not underage. And with my friend, same with her. Her model is the same age as her. She's going 28 this year. And people are like, oh, she's 16. You're sexualizing a 16-year-old. And she's like, I'm not 16. Never once did I say I was 16. And I don't even act like a 16-year-old.
Yeah, I hate that. That's so annoying.
Yeah.
I think it's anime in general because a lot of the, if you look at Sanus, even Saru. Anime portrays, 16-year-olds looking like this.
Yeah.
But
Then
real life,
300-year-olds looking like a baby.
yeah, 300-year looking like a baby. So I think that has to do with a lot of it. Neither, if you were to put if you took our designs and put them in real life people would not go, oh, they're 16. We would most likely realistically look in our 20s to 30s.
Yeah.
Although that brings to mind, how long is a crab's lifespan?
I haven't looked it up, and I don't need to know.
Good answer.
See, if you picked lobster, you could have been basically immortal.
Yeah, there you go.
You're
I mean,
at
the
least
way I
immortal
see,
adjacent.
the way I see it, I basically just go by human years. So.
That makes
Some
sense.
crabs can live up to 100 years, so you're perfectly fine.
Hey,
Well,
nice.
you got a better deal than mice, I'll tell you that.
Spider crabs
that's true.
specifically.
Good to know.
Let's see, where were we? There was a big TikTok diatribe about the comments and anime style being, taken as, yes, they're so young when they're built like literal bodybuilders all the time, or, supermodels.
Like, if I was a new person and jumped into Saru's stream, my first thought would not be, oh, he looks like a 16-year-old. Because your model is definitely not a 16-year-old design. You are very toned. I would put you in your 20s, definitely.
Good. Target hit.
So yeah, your target is hit. You did a good job with it. Your original model, however, you look like a younger brother.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see Mouse 1.0 just being the little bro. That's literally the grow-up moment. Matter of fact, I even did the post where it's like, yes, old model, old look versus new look. We got, there's not, a single ounce of muscle on them. They're just a scrawny little mouse to, here we are.
Saru could be a teacher, June. That's funny. Saru is a teacher.
Saru is a teacher. I do teach. In real life. It is my job.
When Ness and I
cool.
saw your real life picture, Saru, on that, VTubers versus real life, we both were like, you clearly have inspiration for yourself from here. You use yourself as an inspiration.
I was the template. I had no thoughts.
Yeah, your model looks like you.
I love that.
Cool.
Good.
It might surprise you, but VIL and I look nothing alike.
Let me just lean in and look at the magnified zoom on the back wall.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might see a few people walking around looking like that.
Yeah.
Bright red, couple
man.
claws. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Oh, jeez. Alright. So, with that lull there, any other tangents to bring up, or shall I continue on to the last, I say half, but it's probably going to be like a half hour of questions if we go at a decent pace. Any last comments or questions from either of you here with me on stage, or anybody in the comment section of the chat box of the Twitch chat? Comment section. Well, this isn't on YouTube yet.
Please go right ahead.
Looks like... Oh, Sanus is thinking very thinky.
I'm thinking to see if I can bring in another topic or question.
Alright, if something does crash into your brain while we're carrying on, feel free to, make me take a pause and we'll get to that. For now, I'll move on to some of the questions that are more specific to you, VIL. These are ones where I was mostly curious about the process of clipping and a lot of the work time and experience that goes into that, so that's kind of where these ones are going to focus on. So, the first one for the specific questions is, how much time do you have to commit to watching other people and sorting out the content and the actual process of clipping before you even get stuff to YouTube?
A lot. So, yeah, I mean, just the watching process. So,
Mm-hmm.
not all, but almost all. I'm talking 95% of the stuff that I clip are things that I see with my own eyes. Hold
Mm-hmm.
on 1 second, please.
Oh, we will hold then. Well, sometimes things come up and we just gotta make time, huh? Aye. How's that thinking going, Sanus? Are the gears turning?
It's trying.
Do,
It's kind of like someone put a metal pole where the gears are trying to turn, or like a stick, and it's like
you know,
trying
my
to turn,
you know the
but it's
mental
getting
image of
stuck.
like a hamster in the hamster wheel when you're thinking?
Yeah.
Why do I just imagine a piece of bread in your brain just running on the hamster wheel trying to outrun the toaster, heat?
It's a piece of bread that's stuck in the toaster and it doesn't know if it wants to pop out yet or not.
The
Oh
idea's
my.
forming. Oh no.
Um,
Welcome back.
yeah, I'm back. So sorry. That was funny. I had a guest knock on the door. I was like, I'm busy, but thank you.
Understandable.
Um, no. So yeah, like I said, I clip basically everything that everything I see is.
Yep.
No, hold on. I was wording that incorrectly.
Everything
Most
you've
things,
clipped, most things. Okay.
yeah, most things I've clipped, I have seen with my own eyes. So it's not like I'm just going to different Twitch channels and taking clips from like their clip section, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's kind of to me, that's kind of how you get the most unique and interesting types of clips, is if you're not just kind of because sometimes you'll get a lot of clippers who clip the same stuff because that's
Mm-hmm.
all they're doing. They're going to their like most top clips for the past 7 days and taking whatever is there.
Just how many Ara clips can we fit into this video this time?
Yeah, exactly. But me, I prefer to try to take what I see myself and I find enjoyable,
Mm-hmm.
since that'll be a bit more unique. And also, it kind of helps me form a relationship with those VTubers, and I get a lot of their community in jokes because I spend so
Mm-hmm.
much time, in their communities. That being said, because of that, I tend to, yeah, it requires spending a lot of time hopping onto different streams and spending time and watching, what's going on. And sometimes I can only watch for maybe 5 minutes, and sometimes I'll spend maybe 20, 30 minutes in someone's chat if I'm really like, dedicated or enjoying what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and usually my process tends to be like, nowadays I just don't have as much time to watch consistently day after day. So sometimes I'll just go on a like spree of just hopping onto different friends' chats and saying hi and wishing them a good day, and just so that they know I'm thinking of them and supporting them. But as far as like clips are concerned, I will sometimes spend like once or twice a week. I will just kind of spend an entire morning or entire afternoon just dedicated to watching streams, so I can collect a bunch of clips, and then
Mm-hmm.
that collection of clips will be what I use for that week or 2 weeks. And uh so I'll have a backlog of maybe like, I don't know, like 10 to 30 clips or something. And since I put out 4 clips a day, that's I need a lot of content in order to in order
Yeah.
to put stuff out. Um, yeah, that's just getting the clips, and then the actual clipping process is if it's a shorter clip, I could potentially bang out the clip in like 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's a longer compilation because every day I try to put out like a compilation video that's somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes. And that can take about an hour, if not like hour and a half of editing. And then the rendering time just to render the video usually takes at least half an hour, sometimes an hour. And when my computer is rendering, I actually really can't do anything else on it because of the processing power.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's just like it. So some videos I can maybe bang it out in like 30, 45 minutes, and others can take upwards 2 hours, potentially more. And I saw Ness said that might become harder to do as I get larger. As far as I assume, referring to when I said that I watch a lot of clips on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, absolutely, I can already tell that's going to be hard because I've been following more and more VTubers, and I can't watch all of them, obviously.
Right.
So sometimes I will, as I've said, look at their top clips and should try to choose something that I enjoy. But the main thing is that I find that because luckily I follow really entertaining people, right? So even if I'm only able to stay for 5 or 10 minutes, I can usually find at least one or two things that I really found funny or entertaining to clip. Um, so yeah, I mean it's tough, and I don't know how sustainable it is for the future. Like obviously, I don't want to spend all my time watching streamers and clipping, and that's like the only thing I have time for. Um, but I think two things help. One, I think in the future, once I'm a bit more profitable, if I can hire an editor to help
Mm-hmm.
me edit a clip every now and then, I think that would help, free up some time for me. Um, and then also with one of my time slots, I send out a clip. I'm EST, and I
Mm-hmm.
send out a clip at 1 p.m., 4 p.m., 7 p.m., and 10 p.m. So basically every 3 hours. If I have all four clips, scheduled for the day. Sometimes I don't have all four clips, but if I do, those are my time slots. And my last time slot, the 10 p.m. time slot, I've been using that to promote my clips from my streams.
Oh.
Um, so whether that's vaporwave vibing, where I
Mm-hmm.
bring on friends and we talk and hang out, or if that's like just maybe like something I said on stream that people found funny or something like that. And that's helped because that kind of makes it so I have 3 slots where I promote other VTubers and put out clips, and then my last slot, which helps promote my Twitch and the stuff I
Mm-hmm.
do, so that hopefully, some if someone sees something that they enjoy from that clip, maybe they'll go check out my Twitch and follow me over there. So there's a lot of like strategy and things I try to do, and like I said, it takes up a lot of my time, but I enjoy it, and I think
Yeah.
because of the hard work I've been putting into it, that's one of the reasons why I've been able to grow so quickly.
That makes sense. That makes sense. That is something that seems to be one of the behind the scenes type of comments as far as not having enough time in the day to do everything and hiring an editor.
Oh yeah,
Because
absolutely.
a lot of the times, especially like once large channel, you expect to have at least that much content, but you gotta branch out to even more people because if people just see the same thing all the time, so on and so forth. So
Yeah,
what are
absolutely.
the thoughts towards if things do get continue to grow popular and it becomes profitable in some manner, would you like to in the future see like a VTubers I Love team that actually helps you with all the tasks and makes it so you
That would
don't
be
have to
cute.
have 48 hours in a 24-hour day?
That's a hard question to ask or answer, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
because part of me wants to say yes, but the other part of me is like the business part of me wants to say yes, because obviously that would be ideal.
Yeah.
But the creative part, the creative in me,
It's hard
um,
to let go of the control and be like, this is what I want to do and how I'm doing it.
exactly, because it's hard to imagine not being the one to actually be getting the clips and doing the
Mm-hmm.
editing, because it's all very personal for me, right? So like I don't know how that would be like if I would have some kind of document that says, hey, these are the kind of VTubers I follow, these are the kind of VTubers I clip, please do it in this way and like whatever. And I could see that being a possibility, but it's weird because yeah, because I started all this on my own and I'm the one doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I would feel like having a team under me that like speaks for me and does my clips, but I'm like So like it all represents me, but I'm not the one doing it anymore. Like I don't know, it feels very impersonal, and I also know that, like I said, it's not sustainable to do that
Mm-hmm.
forever. So I think realistically, will I have a team someday? Probably, but I will have to do it in a way that I'm very comfortable with and people I trust to like um uphold my kind of ideals and the things that I want to showcase on the channel, you know.
That makes sense. Might even be, some vetting periods where they submit the clips they think are gonna, go directly to you for review before even anything reaches editing rooms or something like that. So, who knows
Yeah,
what the
yeah.
future might hold? But it sounds like it's it's definitely a looming conundrum as opposed to just something with a clean answer, huh?
You're completely right. Yeah, like I said, I don't have an answer because it is really such a I'm not there yet, and I don't think I'm even close there yet to having it like to being able to have a team. But if I do keep growing more and more, I could see myself getting there someday.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. That is a interesting thing that I'll have to answer someday.
So the cogwheel finally broke. We finally got the question.
Oh, great.
Um, and but before I ask it, this is a question. All of you watching who's a VTuber, get your pen and paper out and get ready.
Note time.
What is your favorite content to actually go and clip? What is the thing that you like to watch the most and you like to clip?
So there are two things. Um, I and it's funny because they're almost polar opposites. But I mean, but that's very much that speaks to
Works.
yeah, that works. That speaks to the kind of
Mm-hmm.
channel that I enjoy having. Um, so one obviously is kink talk. Whether that's being teasing about something that's kinky or educationally speaking on kinky topics and being like, hey, here's what I enjoy and why I enjoy it, and maybe you learn a thing or two, and that kind of thing. I
Mm-hmm.
love that sort of stuff because especially when you're talking with people who are passionate about certain kinks or interests, um, you not only learn a lot, but you also not just about that thing, but you also learn a lot about the person themselves. And I really enjoy that, and because I try to have a kink positive community, that's something that I like sharing, and I feel like other clip channels don't cover that specific kind of content. Um, then on the other hand, I like my other favorite type of stuff to clip is very very wholesome moments. Um, Moments where VTubers are being very vulnerable and either talking about their personal lives or about things that matter to them. Another great example is for those that don't know, we've mentioned her before in during the stream, but Vexoria is a
Mm-hmm.
mother, and so sometimes her children, her youngest son, will sometimes barge into the stream just to wish her good night. And those are some
Aww.
of and those are
Mm-hmm.
some of the cutest moments because the stream will be, she'll be watching scary videos or something, and then you'll hear the door open in the background, and her son will just come up and say, I love you, mom, good night, or something like
That's
that.
so cute.
Right? And those are
Yeah.
some of my favorite things to clip because I know that I enjoy it and I know other people enjoy it because I just talked about it and you both went, "Aw." And it's because, everyone just not only is it heartwarming, but also I think people like s- there are some people who like complete immersion, right? They like
Mm-hmm.
people who stick to their character and they are their character and that's it. And they're completely separate from their real life self. I personally enjoy seeing the person behind the VTuber, as far as like them expressing who they are, and like I like people who are wholly themselves, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so getting to see a tiny peek behind the curtain where yeah, Vexoria role plays as being this giant snake goddess that wants to eat the sun, but she's also a wife and a mother, and she has a little child that she takes care of at home. Like, I love seeing that stuff, and I really like seeing those kind of wholesome moments with VTubers. So that kind of speaks, like I said, to the kind of content that I like, where the reason why I from the start referred to people as wholesome degenerates, because I didn't want to just clip the lewd stuff. I didn't want to just clip the kinky stuff. I want to be able to, appreciate all things about VTubers. And I have the things that I focus on, but just because we enjoy kink and stuff doesn't mean that we can't also enjoy the really cute or serious talks or real talks. Another great example is like some of my favorite clips are when VTubers talk about their personal experiences with VTubing and like being like real and open about like how their experiences doing it have been. And yeah, so I like being able to show both sides.
Fair
That's
enough.
great.
Fair
I like
enough.
that answer.
I
I have
definitely.
one more
Oh.
question.
Go for it.
I'll hold on for a second. I do
Yeah,
want
you
to
do your thing,
comment
Saru.
on this thing real quick for the tangent. I do think a lot of it just comes into it's just a natural, unexpected moment, especially for like the little children coming and going, "Good night, mommy," and that type of stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
Because like,
Super cute.
I mean, technically you could script that, but why would you? Like that if it's happening, clearly little kids just wants to say hi to mom. There's nothing, there's no undertones, there's no ominous anything going on. There's no pretenses to like the character and all that. It's just that's a moment. That's just the kids being a kid, Kids
Yeah.
having, time talking to mom.
Love it.
Absolutely.
That's all I wanted to get in.
This question is from someone in the chat, but they wanted to remain anonymous, so they messaged me personally for it. This one might be a little personal. So if you don't feel fully comfortable with responding to it, we would understand.
Sure.
I was asked to ask you if you think if people try to befriend you just to be clipped.
Do I think that?
Yes.
I always assume the best of people, right? That's kind of how that's not how everyone goes about life, but that's what I try. I try to always see the best of people and assume the best of intentions. But I'd be lying if I said that I've never felt that before, because I have had some people who will, kind of gear like conversation towards clipping, you know? Or like if the first thing that they ever ask of me was like, hey, like if I've never spoken to this person and the first thing they say is, hey, you want to collab? Or hey, you want to like, hey, I have this great clip. You want to check it out? You know what I mean? Like if someone isn't clearly like trying to befriend me first and like just being nice and caring about like my content and what I'm up to, and they really just want to like they're just talking about like my work and things they can get out of me, then yeah, I think that kind of gives off like maybe like I'm not assuming the worst, but maybe it does give me bad vibes and I kind of just don't engage with that person as much,
At that person, you're not assuming much. They're kind of acting with their heart on their sleeve, and it may not be the best read.
Yeah, exactly. And so no, but I mean like generally do I do that though? Like no. If someone just like starts talking to me and just being friendly, I don't automatically go, "Oh, they're just trying to befriend me because they want my clips," or like, no. That I think that's kind of silly. And also if you're always assuming the worst of people, you'll never make friends, because then you're just going to assume everyone's out to get you or everyone's out to use you, right? But another thing that I will say that's I don't know, it's just in the advice of making friends with people, let it happen naturally and just kind of like get to know people either through interacting with their content, like going to their streams, or like if we're talking about like a content creator, right? and stuff like that. I would say two things that you shouldn't do is one, please don't ever just message someone hi.
Oh God.
This is
Those.
not just a content creator question or thing. This is like an everyone thing. When someone just says hi, it doesn't give you anything to go off of. It also puts all the onus on you to make and create conversation, and it's very mentally exhausting and socially exhausting. I've had multiple people do it, and it's not a fun like. And another thing too is like, just if you have something either you want to say to someone or a question you want to ask them, just do it. Just get right into the topic. You don't need to have kind of like a lead into the thing. You know what I
I'm
mean?
gonna say hello so you can still order your coffee before our Twitter DMs.
Yeah,
Like,
it's exactly. It's just very. It does make like for an awkward conversation. So a little bit of advice. And then also I know the other one was oh man. I don't know. It's not coming to me. I'm sure it
it
will at
slipped
some
the
point.
brain.
But do you? But I mean, do you both agree?
Oh, I have one
Yeah.
person in particular that I can think of that does that every now and then, where it's just like, hi, hello, hi. And it's like,
Yeah.
I'm trying really hard. We have some thematic similarities. There's some conversational potential. And nothing.
I make sure if I'm so I have a hard time of messaging people in the first place, social anxiety. So me messaging you, I'm always going to outright be like, here is the topic.
Yeah. Yep.
I might be like, hey, I want to tell you something, and then wait for the response, but I won't just go out, hi. And you also mentioned someone had sent you, Kimmy collab type thing out of nowhere. You don't know this person, but they message you. You want a collab? I've gotten one of those. Finally, I'm at that point where I've gotten one of those, and I have a hard time telling people no. And it's not that I don't want to collab with this person. I am more than willing to collab with them, but I want to get to know you before I collab with you. I want to actually have talked and stuff like that. Like it took me a while to accept the collab with Saru because it's not that I didn't want to collab with him. I just didn't know him all that well, and I didn't know if our personalities would mesh well, if it would clash, and that's always a big worry. Um, if you really want to collab with a person because you think that you're going to fit well with the person, and you want to ask this said person for a collab, maybe set up a group collab. The person that messaged me for, hey, do you want to collab? I don't know when we're going to. We never actually set a date, but we decided that if we do collab, it's going to be one where it's like a Jackbox game or one where you can have a group of people rather than just the singular person. It's easier to not clash with that. Duty, when they asked me for a collab, it was a Monster Hunter one, and it was just us, and we had fun. But we were nervous with each other because we didn't really we've been in each other's chats and stuff like that, and hung out. It just between that much. But when Saru and came to both of us and was like, "Hey, we should do a golf game," and we were like, "Yeah, let's do a golf game." And between the three of us bouncing our personalities off of each other, making jokes, interacting, having fun.
I am still very much in shock of like, why did I decide, alright, well, golf has numbers that can be big or small. What if we did size thing based off of that? And then I just shrink out of existence on some of their streams. Like, yeah, that's gonna be a memory in the brain forever. Panic.
That's hilarious.
Saru got lost on me.
Yeah, but not before getting stuck in a pipe for, 12 holes and just getting way too big for a minute.
Butt.
Oh my god, I love that.
We even have a picture of that. One of our
Yeah, yeah,
watchers made a fan art
yeah.
picture of
Prince
him being
Hands, I
stuck in a
believe.
pipe.
Prince Hands
Yep.
101. Yeah.
Very fun. If you're going to ask for collabs with people, it try to make it something that it won't just be between you two. If you don't really know each other, try to find a way to let you bounce personalities and get to know each other, or just get to know the person first.
Mm-hmm.
That's honestly easier.
Yeah.
Now, I will chime in with a little bit of an oddity in that field, however. That there is a particular type of collab where there's a lot of people who haven't talked for the first time going on right now. You know, with the interviews in particular, it's kind of, I try to frame it as a lot bigger of a thing than it is when approaching people. That way, build up the hype initially. Because it's
I
not like
think
I just asked either of you to just, hey, want to sit in a room and with some chocolate next to us and, talk for a few hours?
I think the interviews are a little different
Mm-hmm.
because it does the whole. Even though you invited VIL and VIL has never really talked to either of us, I think it helped VIL sit and relax more, seeing how we interact with each other. Saru, we're just joking around, having conversation, and
Yeah.
that always will help ease tension with another person. Again, I was nervous, and I've known Saru forever, but this is my first time as co-host, and
Mm-hmm.
Vil, you said that I've been doing a good. You didn't even know that this was my first time.
No, I
You just
didn't.
couldn't
Yeah.
tell. Ness messaged me going like, "You're doing great," because she knew how nervous I was.
Aw, that's great.
Um,
One thing I'll say that I'm actually impressed by is
Oh.
I noticed at the beginning, not that there's anything wrong with this, but just so you know, near the beginning, Sanus was. I noticed you were quieter, and then as the stream has gone on, you've been just
Mm-hmm.
like talking more and more and more. So I'm glad that it's very obvious that you became more comfortable.
yeah, yeah. It was I didn't know when I should talk to now like, I'll just
Now
stay.
I can just talk.
Yeah.
You do your thing.
um, um, no, like for me, I was nervous in the fact of like I'm nervous whenever I meet new people. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't get overly nervous, but it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, I'm meeting someone new, so I want to make a good impression, right? But I was honestly pretty comfortable getting on stream with both of you because um I know Saru, you've come by my stream every now and then, which makes
Couple of
me like
times, yeah.
recognize your name, right? Um, and Sanus, I know that I follow you on Twitter, so I see your tweets all the time, and I like and comment on your stuff every now and then. So it wasn't like you were a completely new name, right? So I think just me kind of tangentially knowing you both through in the community made me feel more comfortable getting on with you. So if I didn't know either of you at all, then yeah, it would be really weird and I probably wouldn't have accepted. But because I did know both of you in different small ways, it definitely made me go, oh yeah, I'd like to get to know these two people, you know?
Mm-hmm. And
I'm gonna have to correct a statement
oh,
you said really fast. You said small ways. The only one small here is you. So you know us in big ways.
wow.
Okay,
We know
okay.
you in small
Fit,
ways.
you're right. You do know me in small
Sanus
ways.
going for the throat there, huh?
I don't mind.
he's
you
It's fair, it's
he's
fair.
he's a crab. It's hard to go for the throat. They have a
yeah.
shell.
We gotta get a
Oh,
few good jabs in order to test that shell,
yeah, that was perfect. Yes, I know you both in big ways.
huh? And I will say that I did, deliberately go, "Hey Sanus, I'm gonna drag you into this,"
Yeah.
because I did, I was aware of some of that association as well, and also just the general sizey conversation. That's like this group I figured would thrive in that conversation. And every now and then I do pick a special co-host if I see, oh, there's probably a good chance for this person and that person to have natural conversation on a topic. Like, Sanus is actually one of the other people who got a particular co-host because I figured a lot of world building and, some of the RP related stuff to settings, you'd get along with Sarah on, and, hopefully that was a good call.
Yes, it was. I love Sarah. Great person.
She is amazing. She's one of my big inspirations as well. So, bonus points to get her on stream with me.
And like, again, I said earlier, I'm glad that you had asked me to come do this. It's been a fun time, a good experience for me as well. It makes me want to do this more, to join in. Or, to, I started up my breakfast streams for Mondays. And it's giving me a bit of experience kind of hosting and having someone there to talk to and have conversation with. So when I start to do that on my side, I'll be able to do it a little bit more naturally.
That's good. Yeah, breakfast with Sanus way early in the morning, huh?
Breakfast is good. It's the most important meal of the day. I'm serving it up Gary's way.
Well, I hear food and my stomach's getting pretty hungry, and I just, look over at crab.
Uh-oh.
Don't eat. You have a whole chocolate table in front of you. Eat that first.
All right, I'll eat my way to, our guest, and then we'll have to.
If you need that
new terms
after
that.
If you need that hide, you can always come over to me, and I'll protect you.
She is very good at denying me snacks.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
But yes, I suppose briefly on that note, still Sanus. Also, I do see that in chat. Thank you, Fox Girl, and thank you, Dooney. Oh no, they're doing things in chat. They're throwing bits.
Getting the hype train coming. It's starting.
But Sanus, on that note, if this is something fun that you think you'd want to do more, I'm pretty much going to be like, yeah, if you wanna join in for a co-host, I'll keep you in mind for pretty strong rotation. I got to get Dooney in on one of these times as well for co-hosting.
Sure.
So
100%.
we'll see ya. For now, though, back to the focus where the focus should be for the interview. Hi, VIL.
Hey.
I believe Sanus actually basically covered what was going to be one of my next questions about, what you look for in VTubers to clip, what you like in content, and so forth.
Nice.
So, I'm going to go to the last of my specific questions. And it was mentioned somewhat earlier, but I would like to just ask explicitly, is there a usual reaction people give you to you clipping?
Yes. I mean, really, it's usually like, I think it's one of three, reactions. One is I get no reaction, which is fine. Either they didn't see the clip or they didn't see me promote it, or they just simply, weren't interested, and that's fine. Another one is like the biggest reaction I get whenever I clip, especially someone new or a small indie, is they kind of, I don't want to say freak out, but you know what I mean. They it's a big reaction. They're like, "Oh my god! Like, thank you for clipping me," and "Oh my gosh,
actually
this
happened to me. I can't believe it."
Yeah, exactly, that kind of thing. And so that usually happens, especially when someone's not expecting it. And then I would say the third reaction is just kind of like a normal reaction, especially if I've clipped someone consistently, or if I'm friends with someone. They might just say, "Hey, thanks. I really appreciate it," or something like that. And it's yeah. So you kind of have a range of either like nothing, mild, like "Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks as always," that kind of thing, or like big bombastic, like "Oh my god," all caps, like "I can't believe you clipped me," that kind of thing. Yeah, I literally any response I get when I clip, I always really appreciate it. It's just nice. When you work hard on something, it's always nice to have someone acknowledge it in whatever form.
That does make sense. It sounds like you've managed to not get any negative reactions, at the least, if I'm being optimistic with interpreting that.
No, I really haven't.
Oh,
I'll be honest. There was only once I got a negative reaction, and that was from a more popular streamer's mod who reached out to me and was like, "Hey, like you can't clip this in this way, and you need to do this," and it got really like weird, and they tried to restrict what I could and couldn't do. So I
Jeez.
just decided to not clip that person, and I just moved on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That.
I remember a topic like that popping up on Twitter and I remember commenting about it, like, why, if so, I have one mod for my stream. I have one person, and that's Ness.
yeah.
So she's usually
Mhm.
she's usually busy around the time that I'm streaming, so I take
Mhm.
care of it myself. That stuff like that, or the horror stories I've seen of other mods, are a big reason why I don't want to mod people. Because even though I might trust other people, putting someone as your mod for your stream is some people say it's not, but it really is. They are a face of your stream at that point.
That
If
is
I
true.
modded
Yeah.
somebody and they come in and I find, they started saying, slurs on Twitter or in DMs to certain people, and, that's going to look bad on me.
Yeah.
I would
Absolutely.
immediately remove them. So hearing someone come to you clip someone, and them going, you did this wrong. You have to clip it like this. First
Mhm.
off, you're a mod. It's not your stream. The streamer can tell me this. If the streamer really feels this way, then I'll maybe either I'll stop clipping them or whatever. But you, it's not mods. You are not the owner of this stream. You are not the
The
one who makes these decisions.
So I very much agree with you, and your fears are founded and definitely valid. The only thing I will say though is that this mod was speaking for this streamer because the streamer also held the same beliefs. So it wasn't like the mod was
Uh.
going behind the streamer's back. It's like this streamer was super strict on
Ay,
how
ay,
they
ay.
could be clipped, and apparently they had their own like guidelines, but they were unspoken, so you wouldn't know that unless you clip them and then get reprimanded for it. It's really weird. So I just, like I said, I decided to just not clip them anymore because I didn't want to deal with that.
Here are the
Well,
rules,
that's
but we're
their
not gonna
loss.
tell them.
That's their
Uh,
loss.
Yeah, yeah, and you're right. You're right. No, I agree. It is their
Jeez.
loss.
Indeed it is. Like, some people, being paranoid, I could understand a paranoid angle, but what are you giving up by letting people clip you? You let them use what? 30 seconds, a couple of minutes of you having fun and being energetic that people might like to see?
There's
Like,
only one instance where clipping can be bad,
Hmm.
and that's usually something that, you said it yourself. You've clipped some, like, oh, they accidentally, clippers they'll accidentally they'll clip something that someone accidentally said. They might have said something like
You don't want to clip anything
something
sensitive.
perverse.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, and oh, I accidentally said that, tee hee. Some people don't want that to be clipped. If I had accidentally said something and someone clipped it, I would first be like, please
at
don't clip
at
this
the
stuff.
same time, as the streamer, you got to take responsibility for what you say and
Yes.
how you say it. So I may, give the side eyes to one of my longtime friends and mods who's in my stream that took me going, yes, I'm just gonna go completely out of character and exaggerate for a moment and be like, yes, I am totally the greatest person ever. Look how wonderful I am. Brr, 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 in that exact tone, where it's like, you can tell it's tongue in cheek. And they're like, you know what? That's a clip now, but we're not giving you the context. It's like, thanks.
Yeah, if it's like an out of context thing and they don't clip the context of it and they don't talk about it just to kind of get after somebody, that's not a good time. But
Mm-hmm.
my thing is more referring, like, we'll go with a complete say so streamer. And you know how some people will come in to your chat and they'll have a name that probably reads as something really bad, but
Yes,
you're reading it
Mike
out loud.
Hunt.
Yeah, you're reading it
Yep.
out loud while looking at it,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get clipped from that, and you that's probably like the only time that's bad.
Yeah, and I think it's okay if you've made it clear you're okay with being clipped about, like, if you make a slip up like that and it's just like a silly haha oops I said a bad word or whatever, like, but it's not like you know, someone's not trying to get you with like a gotcha, like, oh, I caught you saying something bad, or you're like a great example is someone was doing an IRL hand cam stream, and the camera fell, and you could momentarily see the streamer's face, and
Yeah.
someone clipped it, and that's not okay because that's going against their privacy, their wishes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It's like there's clear intent with, what's said, what happens, and what people do on the clipping side as well. And you can tell when a bad actor is being a bad actor from either side a lot of the times. So
Yeah.
don't be
However,
bad
most
actors.
of the time, 90% of the time, Clippers are they are kind of like a hidden gem in the community.
Yeah.
People talk all the time about lurkers. Lurkers are amazing for your chat. They are great to have there. Clippers are another hidden gem that a lot of times you don't notice them at first, and then they come in going, I clipped this. Here's this. It's getting clipped is also like receiving fan art in my mind. It's an honor that someone would take their time to not only watch you, but to find something interesting that you've said or done on stream, and take time to either clip it, pull it out, and either edit it or even just the straight raw Twitch link file of it.
Yep.
And a lot of people who think, oh, I'm very self-made, look at this. A lot of that does come from the invisible effort behind the scenes, where, like, a lot of clippers, like was mentioned earlier, they don't have representations of themselves. We can't just gather up all the crabs in the universe and talk with all the Twitch clippers. We only got, one crab here, right?
Yep.
So it's not like, yes, I did everything and blew up because of my own hard work, and I'm just going to dismiss all the clippers. That's not going to get you any friends anywhere, because more often than not, somebody saw the clip and like, oh, they seem interesting, and that's how a lot of growth pops in. A lot of it does come from, wow, I was just looking up, funny VTubers of the week or something, and boom, here we are. So.
Ooh, and I know some people say this, and I do not believe this whatsoever. I am very opposite stance of this. If you are a person who sits there and believes that a clipper is just using the popularity of the VTuber that they're clipping to gain numbers and stuff like that, you need to go out and reevaluate yourself. Because I'll use VIL here for an example. VIL edits these clips. VIL puts time to watch the streamer and find things that will not only help the streamer, but it does help you.
Yeah, of
it does
course.
help you out. But it's not like you're stealing what they've done. You are showing off. You are editing. You are working. If someone goes against you or other clippers in that regard, that would be the same as a person who goes against a YouTube video editor. Like, you and other clippers put time and work into it. You're not stealing anyone's thunder. You're not, this is still, you will still, if you clipped me on this show right now saying something, you're not taking anything from me, because you are showing other people this is who this is. So this is Sanus. This is how she is.
I have a word on the energy of people who have, that type of opinion, because I just got a mental image that I can't not share. So, you know, high school sports, the local football teams and all that. Imagine, quarterback makes a beautiful pass, and then a week later, it's on the news because it's a small town, and then the one high schooler is just like, nope, that's my pass. The news station can't have it. Let's just break down the door. And, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the same energy. Hey.
No, I mean the opinion I take is that, like, I mean, obviously, yeah, of course I'm for the Clippers and stuff.
Mhm.
But what I will say is that if anyone ever requests that you not clip them, I think VTubers always
Mhm,
have
mhm.
the right to revoke that if that for whatever reason. But also I think that it's in the VTuber space, it's a ecosystem, right? Because a lot of VTubers get recognition or get new followers because if they consistently get clipped and get posted on YouTube, more people are seeing them. So it's mutually beneficial because I have something to post on my channel, and obviously because I'm crediting them and I'm editing together these clips that I find entertaining, I'm
Mhm.
hopefully showing people the most something that will make them intrigued enough to go check those VTubers out. Yeah, like I said, it's mutually beneficial, and hopefully everyone involved enjoys the process. But obviously, if anyone ever were to say to me like, "Hey, I don't want using my clips," then I just wouldn't clip them anymore and be pretty
Yeah.
simple. Um,
I
Straightforward enough.
I love this because my mental image of it is the VTubers you clip are Godzilla and you're Mothra. You have a symbiotic relationship with them.
I didn't even think of that, but yeah, I guess you're right. I guess that is a
That,
good way of looking at it.
that's a very kaiju gal type of comment too, huh?
See, but instead of being like a full Mothra size, I'm just actual moth size.
What a... Oh. I'm
Oh,
sure there are creatures that have a symbiotic relationship with crabs.
I'm sure. I don't know what they are, but I'm sure. The closest thing I could think of is like those whales that have like like
Oh,
fish suckers.
anemones.
Yeah, yeah.
Anemones have a... Sea anemones and hermit crabs have a symbiotic relationship.
Oh, well, there you
ooh,
go. And sometimes I like being a hermit, so it works out perfectly.
makes sense. Makes sense. I
But you're always around Liv, so I'm questioning on what your hermit crab shell is.
I don't know.
Do you live in her ear when you decide to go hermit crab?
um, no, you know how you have your toast?
Yes. Oh.
I
Oh,
see.
that
I
makes
see.
sense.
And here I thought you were aiming for the boot the whole time. It's just upside down compared to how the other hermit crabs go for it.
Local crab with a camera records shenanigans of monsters.
I was actually gonna say. I mean,
Exactly.
Danny, the sandals is more accurate, but they're not very cozy though. So
It makes sense. Makes sense. Huh?
The cleavage that pinches back. Goldfish.
All
so
right.
someone tries to go for a grab, and then a crab pincer just comes out and just claws them.
Oh no.
Crab
I
popping out. Did you get
I
permission?
I
Pinch,
I
pinch.
protect.
This my home.
Consent is key.
You didn't get consent. You lose the finger. Aye. Well, this one has yeah, we're cresting near 4 hours, so it's about time to potentially wrap up, huh?
Oh, that is totally fine with me. It's been so much fun getting to hang out with
It
you both.
has.
That's good. That's good. I do have 2 questions to all the crabs home. I'd prefer you not send PNG links to Discord or
I will
anything
look
in the
really
chat read.
fast. It's a cute picture.
I do imagine, but at the same time, links
Yeah,
in
I
chats
get
you
you.
Never be
never
too
know.
careful.
Yep.
But while I have 2 questions, both pertaining to the potential future, I would also like you to take a glance around. Is there anybody online around the end of stream that you would like us to send the interview raid to? As well, you can generally pick the raid message as well, if you please. Something I do for each interviewee. That way, you get to send the love over to someone you know, as opposed to just me saying, "And here's someone I know, completely unrelated to the topic."
Oh, sure. No, it's nice of you to say. Let me see.
Do keep it in mind, and if you get a target, feel free to send them in the DMs while I ask the questions. So,
Sure, go for it.
looking forward, are there any long-term, far-out goals that you've got? The dream big type of goals.
This is not that far out, but because obviously I've started at least. But I really want to be a full-on VTuber. So I want to
Yeah.
have a model and everything. That would be really exciting. And I think I would like to. I don't know like how to gauge when I reach this point. But hopefully I'll just feel it at some point. Um, I already have people who are excited about coming onto vaporwave vibing and are excited about it. But I would love to get to a point where it's like even people who don't know me know vaporwave vibing, and it's like one of the big VTuber shows to like get on. You know what I
That,
mean?
you know,
That people are like, oh, like
I
yeah, I got to get on
absolutely
that
get that
show.
goal. I understand.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm sure you can because I'm sure it's similar with your
Oh
interviews.
yeah, if
So
somebody was like, I really want to be on Big Squeak Inc. that I had no clue who they were before then. Well, one, I'd have to, do a bit of a dive and be like, okay, what you do, what you do, what you do. But also, that'd be crazy exciting, huh?
yeah, exactly. Um,
That's how Grim was with you.
At least we,
He saw.
got you targeting the attack towards Grim, I believe,
Yeah.
Koji, huh?
He saw your interview and with me, and he immediately was like, he messaged me and was like, I would love to be on his show. I would love to be interviewed by
that's
him.
awesome.
Well, it's a
And
good thing we got him on then, huh?
I relayed that to Saru. I was like, Saru, I got a person that you can interview. I sent that a few people actually to you.
Yeah, I do
Hey, this
take
person interviewed.
suggestions. Although usually from people who've been on the show or good friends, so if you got any suggestions, Vil, feel free to throw them my way, huh?
Sure. Yeah. No. If I think about, I mean, honestly, like, and I know she's super busy, and I think also obviously you shouldn't just outright ask her. You would want to,
Yeah.
But Vexoria seems like someone who would be perfect for this show, considering the size
I would
stuff.
That
absolutely,
would be so
love
much
to
fun.
have her on. It's just a matter of, oh yeah, that's a lot of busy, and I gotta somehow catch your attention enough to be like, this isn't totally out of the blue.
Exactly. And like, so I know that's not like maybe realistic yet, but I really do think that maybe if you just attend her streams more often and get to know her better, I think it could be a fun thing to do down the line, because it really, I think in concept this is something that would be 100% down her alley.
Yeah, just gotta, naturally catch their attention as opposed to just being like, hey, hello, total stranger that I know of, but you don't really know of me.
Exactly.
The fact that your cityscape is a destructible place, I feel like would be perfect for her.
Oh, she would be in love with that. I kid you not.
Right,
She would
right.
love just tearing down the city.
So, I'll definitely keep that in mind. I've had her on mind to be like, that'd be a good interview guest, but I can't really approach at the moment, so.
Yeah, but, good thing to
Breadcrumbs,
keep in mind.
Breadcrumbs of thoughts to put out there, huh?
For sure. But I also know, actually, let me see. Hold on a second. In light of our conversation that we just had.
I'm curious. We got the suspense building.
Yeah, sorry. I just sent you the person who I think we should raid.
I love them.
Okay, good. So yeah, because when you now that I'm thinking about like people you should invite, or at least just like good candidates, I'll just say the name right now. Paige Monster. She is another kaiju, and so I think that
Oh,
that could be a fun
kaiju
size
do seem to
related.
be a good fit for this show, huh?
Yeah, right.
Sorry, I'm just saying, if you ever need help trying to get into contact with a few kaiju VTubers or not, I have basically every single kaiju VTuber in a Discord server, and we
I
all
will
interact and we talk to each
I
other.
I
love
will
that.
keep that in mind and be like, kaiju needs more kaiju.
I
We need
I
somebody big for the interview.
went out of my way to make a Discord server just so I can help keep in contact with the other kaiju and help support each other.
That's great. I love to
Very
hear
good,
that
very good.
all the kaijus are supporting each other.
We even we got Fluffs in there. That was the oh man, this is big. Um, Ness actually was the one that helped get her in there.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, there's something similar with the mice and rodents behind the scenes as well, but a couple factors going at that. One of them, the rodents, the small mammal type VTubers. There may be a reason why they pick the timid animal, huh?
That's true.
But
Also, this might surprise you. There's not many crab VTubers.
yeah.
That does surprise me actually a lot.
Right.
I know
Uh,
some
There are
mermaids.
but it's
there are
okay.
a lot of VTubers out there that I'm like, oh, there's not gonna be a VTuber of them.
And then there
Like,
is.
it's
Yeah.
like, oh, there's like 20,000 of them. What?
Yep. I'm gonna have to scuttle off here in just a
Yeah.
minute.
So the final question would just be, what are your short-term plans? Like, next day, next week, 5 minutes from now?
Oh man. Let me think. In a week, probably. No, here I'll just say in the next couple days, I've actually been dog and house sitting for a family member.
Ooh,
So I've been outside of my usual space. As I mentioned
yeah.
before, I've been working on a laptop. So I'll be very excited to be working back from home, just so that I at least have my usual, setup.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but probably tomorrow I'll be spending some time with the family, so that'll be good. And in the next few minutes, I'm gonna use the little Scuttles room because
Yeah, so let's just make sure I got that muted. Let's get that raid going since that is all the questions after all. And any
sounds
particular
good.
message you'd like to send off to Paige?
Oh yes, let me see. Let's do VTubers I love to raid. This is my usual raid
That's your
message.
usual raid message? I
There
will
we
go
go.
with that. VTubers I love to raid. I did have a stray thought because it's like I was familiar with your raid message. I was, half being cheeky in my brain going, VTubers I love to interview for the title, I think.
We can do that. We can do VTubers. Well, I don't know, but
Well,
we're
yeah,
raiding her. So.
we'll raid right now. I was just acknowledging, like, yeah, I
No, but
got a
that is
little
funny.
cheeky with the
That's a good one.
title of the stream, if you noticed.
Oh no, you're right. No, I do. Oh, I didn't notice that. Oh, I love that. That's so
right,
good.
a little cheeky there.
No, that was perfectly cheeky. Good job.
All
Good
right,
one.
take care, everybody. Say hello to Paige for us, and bye bye. End of episode 27. We are
Bye.
free.
Bye.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.